Thanks a lot, Adam. And boy, what a beautiful sight it is. High above one of the most famous half miles in the world. That's Knoxville Raceway. And this is the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Qualifying races coming up to set the field for tonight's Corn Belt 150. Drivers from the Cup Series like Chase Briscoe there on the left, and sprint car veteran Brian Brown in this one as well. I mean, it is an all-star type of field, and we're getting ready for 4 heat races. Haley Deegan already buckled in. She'll be in the first heat race. So a random draw determined which drivers were in which heat race and where they would start. And each heat race will consist of 15 green flag laps. Drivers will accumulate points determining where they finish, and then also they'll get passing points. So for instance, if you start third and finish second, you get a passing point. And then you'll combine your total points from your heat race finish and your passing points, and those point totals will determine the feature starting lineup a little bit later this evening. Downstairs, a pair of Jamies, Jamie Little and Jamie Howe. And, well, I'll just throw it to Jamie, and one of you will start talking.
And I'll pick it up, Vince Welch. This is an exciting moment. They just fired it up, and all those fans, they're going to be packed by the start of this race here in about an hour and a half at Knoxville Raceway for the first ever NASCAR race. Now, here's a little platform a lot of these drivers have found. They're in the upcoming heat races. They're happy. You see Sheldon Creed there. He's happy he's not in this first one. He wants to watch and learn and see what the track is like right now. Obviously, we got a lot of rain overnight. Track is much different than when they were on it in practice last night. Jamie.
A lot of the drivers have been out here for the last 30 minutes just signing autographs. They've been waving at all of those fans right across the racetrack up in the stands. Also watching these first 2 heat races are the spotters. You have to remember, not only have the drivers not raced here, the spotters have never helped call races here. So there's so much to learn here. Crew chiefs were here this morning with their teams making changes as soon as the garage is open. A lot of the teams throwing the kitchen sink at it today. There's so much unknown, and we're about to find out what kind of racetrack we have, Vince.
Well, the dirt track certainly changes with each lap as you see the spotter location, and then of course you throw in the weather that we've had. It's just been heavy downpours throughout the course of the afternoon, but much better this evening. Great to have Michael Waltrip, the two-time, easy for me to say, two-time Daytona 500 winner, and Kevin Swindell, who has driven his sprint car to victory lane here at Knoxville, and also 4 Chili Bowl trophies to his credit. Great to have you with us.
Excited to be here. You know what I love, Vince? The Fox NASCAR team, they said, you know, Mike, we probably need to bring in an expert about dirt. You know, the truck's pretty good, but man, Kevin, 4 Chili Bowl wins. You've won at Knoxville. What are you expecting? This is, I think it's really cool. Knoxville is sprint car country, but the sprint car fans have turned out, and they are all about the Corn Belt 150 and our truckers tonight.
For sure, I think they're you know, just excited to see what's going to happen as we are here. It's you know, with dirt and trying to, you know, maintain a surface for these things where it doesn't mess up the windshields. It's going to be interesting to see where the track goes as the day goes, and you know, see how these guys can get by each other to get some passing points.
Yeah, Chris Duncan, who heads up the track team in charge of getting this surface ready to go, has had his hands full with this weather and the track, trying to get it ready to go racing tonight.
What about
our first heat race?
Yeah,
lineup.
Vince, what about Josh Berry? He's done a little bit of everything in 2021. It's been so much fun to watch. Now he's starting on the pole of this heat race. There's Parker Price Miller, sprint car extraordinaire, getting a start here in Jordan Anderson's number 3 truck. And look at that, we're getting ready to go racing.
Devin Rouse making his truck series debut as well, along with Parker Price Miller. So Haley Deegan back there in the 8th starting spot.
I would keep a close eye on her, Kevin. She really was fast in practice yesterday, and look for her to move up through this field. Really talented dirt racer.
It seemed like her beginnings were dirt trucks, so this should be right up her alley.
She's used to being off the ground, though, like hopping over berms and humps and stuff, so hopefully she keeps all 4 on the ground here.
It's Austin Wayne Self on the outside of this front row, and there's Josh Berry, the 25, on the inside. Remember, these heat races are 15 laps, and it's green flags only. The green flag laps only will count.
There goes the pace truck. These truckers have to be apprehensive, Vince.
Ready to go, and the green flag is out, and the trucks are racing at Knoxville.
Be really interested to see what kind of racetrack we get here. You'll know fairly quickly if it's going to get dry quickly or not.
What is the difference? Like, as a novice, you want a dry track or do you want a wet track? What are you looking for?
Yeah, you kind of want something in between. You need, kind of the middle of the racetrack to get slick, but to hold moisture, in an upper lane and a lower lane to really get a good race here. And so far, it seems like they're able to maintain some good side by side.
Wow, really racy.
A little bit of mud on the windshield there of Haley Deegan, and that's one thing that NASCAR was cautious about. Did not want a muddy track because didn't want the mud on the windshields or the radiators, and it's one of those things Chris Duncan had to really take note of as he was preparing this racetrack, and so far it looks pretty good.
Yeah, Haley's able to make that top side work, and in practice yesterday, it seemed like they were locked down on the bottom, but not so much the case here.
Yeah, so far until it wears out, you're going to be able to see, move around in that darker dirt and maintain. And she did a really good job of just staying straight above those guys and kind of pinning them down and making some spots up.
As is Chandler Smith in the 18 truck. We saw him with a lot of speed yesterday in practice. Looks like he and Haley both are really fast as they close in on Tanner Gray in that 15 truck.
Tanner Gray, a teammate to Haley Deegan, and there you see Chandler Smith looking underneath, taking a peek. Can't make the move on Haley Deegan. 5 laps in.
You know what I love about dirt racing, and you love this as well, Kevin, I know, like, you have so many variables. At a pavement track, you're either going to hunt the bottom or run high, but this is going to be constantly evolving. Things are going to change all night.
Yeah, and I think that's what helps these, the dirt guys when they go pavement racing is they spend their whole career just hunting for more grip and looking for a better spot on the racetrack and, some way to gain time from the driver's seat and not so much just hook that white line and go. So, I think that really helps, and obviously Haley's moving right through here.
Josh Berry has really stretched it out to almost 2.5 seconds. What a great story Josh Berry is, and the opportunities that have been provided to him this season. And this is his 5th truck race of the campaign.
Cody Erickson trying to work that bottom, get around Jet Nolan. Right behind them is Tate Fogelman. So good battles all through the field. Now remember, Vince, every truck you have, you start 8th and finish 7th, that's a point. And you get points for finishing 7th, and that helps determine where you start in the feature. So these guys and girls are racing hard for every spot on the track to get a better starting spot when we go green flag racing tonight.
And there are no negative points. If you start 7th and finish 8th, then it's just a 0 in regards to passing points. It's not a -1 against your total.
Kevin, we both won some pretty cool races, but how cool would it feel to have the Corn Belt 150 trophy? That just sounds cool to me.
It does really sound cool. I've had some weird trophies from the Midwest that involve some corn and things, but I imagine whatever they've got going for this place will be pretty cool.
Yeah, any trophy's cool. How about Jamie Little on the 1?
Haley Deegan made up some passes there. She's in 4th right now. TJ Majors, her spotter on the radio, non-stop coaching, saying it's slimy on the straightaway, and he's telling her to don't go higher than 1 lane off the wall. Don't overdo it. Hug the bottom as much as you can, and she's doing right there.
Vince, something that I want to point out. I raced with Haley here just a couple weeks ago at Knoxville. She was really good off turn 2, dead on the bottom. We saw her working on the 3 truck there on the bottom. Now she's moving up top, but she just really seemed to make her best time dead on the bottom of the racetrack. See if she can figure this out up top here.
I think one thing I noticed there too, she was able to get her left front up on the berm, even on exit there, and something we weren't sure with the bodies, but yeah, she's got a really good truck here, it seems like, and able to go wherever she wants. And
5 to go as Deegan works on the 3 truck of Parker Price Miller. Jamie, how?
And Reed Sorensen is the spotter for Parker Price Miller. He's telling him over the radio she's running about half a truck length higher than you are right now. You're doing a really good job. Just make sure you're carrying that momentum all the way through the corner. But they're really happy with the way he's out there racing right now.
And this is good racing, too. These guys are really tight on the 22 of Self. He's in the 2nd spot. Josh Berry has driven away, but Parker Price Miller around the top. getting that second position away from Self, and here comes Deegan on the high side.
Yeah, those are big points. Parker started 4th, so up to 2nd, so he's got a couple of passing points. Haley Deegan has been a big mover. She started 8th, and she's looking at 3rd if she can get around Austin Wayne Self in the 22.
Yeah, she's going to get that spotter. Is she up beside Self in the 22? Great battling here in this first heat race.
You got to really wonder how much some of these guys have set up for later in the night, and how much some of them have kind of gambled to, to keep some moisture in the tracks and stuff. How 2-second swing back and forth we saw yesterday in practice, it could really change as the day goes.
Well, that's certainly the case, because this is not the kind of track we'll see in the feature tonight, that's for sure.
Constantly evolving, and these teams know that as Josh Berry takes the white flag here.
In his own zip code, over 5-second lead. Against second place Parker Price Miller.
I think Deegan's faster than Miller, but can she get there? There goes Berry.
So Josh Berry's going to come around and win qualifying race number 1. Well done. Started from the pole and is the winner, with Parker Price Miller 2nd and Haley Deegan 3rd. Chandler Smith, Austin Wayne Self rounding out the top 5.
Deegan with the most passing points in that race, Vince. So good run for her, and a great run for the 25 Rackley Roofing truck of Josh Berry.
Heat race 1 in the books, and there's Donnie Schatz, the 10-time Knoxville Nationals winner. He's coming up.
Welcome back to Knoxville Raceway in Knoxville, Iowa. Well, we just saw the first of 4 heat races. A lot of great action. I'm joined now by Sheldon Creed. And Sheldon, you're coming up in the final heat race. I saw you watching on the platform. What did you learn there, or anything that can help you in your race?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is the best the track's going to be, but kind of kept my eye on Haley and Christian there, kind of working their way up. And the middle didn't seem bad. They made a few spots work there. And, man, I don't know. You just got to take it for what it is and see what the track's doing all night. So it's going to be tough. It changed a lot last night. It's going to change a lot tonight. And got to keep the fenders on it and try to be there at the end.
A lot of mental notes being taken down here, Vince.
Thanks, Jamie. Let's take a look at the race 1 results. You see Berry, Parker Miller, Haley Deegan, Chandler Smith, Austin Wayne Self, top 5.
You can see there the passing points coming into play, Vince, as Haley was able to move up through the field and got the most points in that race.
From 8th to 3rd.
And that's what NASCAR is looking for. They want to see these racers getting with it, making up some ground, and we saw that in that first heat.
It's got to be a touchy feeling knowing that you can't knock the fenders off of it right now, because you got to race later. So how much do you push the issue to get starting spots, and how much do you leave for later on?
I'm gonna circle 7th position here, Donnie Schatz. I can't wait to see how he's able to move through the field. We know passing is something that is possible with the moves that Haley made. How can Schatz run in this heat?
Kyle Strickler also in this one, and certainly dirt fans are familiar with that name and his successful career.
And Todd Gillen starting 10th. And, Vince, at COTA, Todd Gillen was so impressive. You had to really work the gas. You had to really get grip down there, and he did a great job of that. So can that 38 truck run up through the field here in this heat?
So Gilliland, and now an onboard look of Donnie Schatz. Just recently won his 300th World of Outlaws race, and you see the 10-time champion and 10-time Knoxville Nationals winner as well. Schattsville, as they were calling it there for a while, instead of Knoxville.
And
You never get tired of winning the big ones, though, do you?
And growing up in this world, Kevin, what kind of racer is Schatz? How do you describe his ability? As we watch the 38 guys getting into the wall a lot last night, Schatz didn't do that, but there was some contact. How would you describe Danny Schatz as a racer?
He's always been the guy in the sprint car stuff that's able to kind of find a lane that nobody else is in, and work through kind of the slick of the racetrack where guys are spread out, and he's just really intelligent, really patient, and is obviously as good as anybody the last few years.
Race truck off. This is qualifying race number 2. Green is out. Zane Smith in the 21, and on the outside of him is Kyle Strickler in the 20, trying to find a little bit of grip, and Ben Rhodes there on the inside of him in the 99.
Chase Purdy in that 23 truck, Vince, yesterday was really fast in practice as well. As you see Rhodes looking to the bottom of Strickler. There's Matt Crafton, winner at Eldora. He can get it done on the dirt.
Definitely seems like off the 2, if you're up in that upper lane, that's where the grip is to get you down the back straightaway. Seems like that bottom's wearing out unless you really keep your left sides down against the berm.
That's just so cool to watch these guys. It looks like synchronized swimming almost, or ballroom dancing. You just have to just run your truck sideways and keep it off the guy beside you. That's just really fun to watch.
Strickler continues to work that outside. Chase Purdy is out on the higher groove as well. Ben Rhodes trying to fight off Strickler as Rhodes runs the bottom.
There's Crafton sneaking in there to get a look, but really sideways on the high groove and making it work. That's a little bit surprising. We saw him more or less running straight last night in practice.
Yeah, I think even if you watch, like Haley was pretty straight up there. I think it just depends on how you're set up. And, Strickler's a guy who's always been pretty aggressive in a modified and a late model. So I think that's just his style. And, he might even go faster here if he got himself, maybe calm down just a touch.
Especially for a driver like Strickler or Donnie Schatz. They may be familiar with the dirt, but they're not familiar with the vehicle they're driving right now, that's for sure. And there's got to be some adjustment to that, I would imagine, even for the greats like Schatz. Jamie Howe on 17.
While he's out there, the team's telling him just be smart. They said you're way faster than the 2 trucks that are in front of you. That's what we're looking at right now. You can go and get them. You just got to be smart with them. Focus on that drive off, Jamie Little.
And Ben Rhodes in second. I talked to him before this race, and he said the one thing they're really concerned about is tire wear for this race. Now, keep in mind, the tires that they race in this heat race, they have to start the race on, and they have to go 40 laps. They only have 2 sets for the race, so that's something you're not seeing Ben Rhodes in that 99 hanging out as deep because he's trying to take care of his tires.
Well, we talked about that last night, Kevin, in regards to the amount of tire wear we were seeing, and certainly as this track changes throughout the course of the night, it's going to become a bigger factor.
Yeah, I think right now, in probably that first stage, you're not going to really be able to destroy them too bad. I don't think with as much moisture still hanging out there, I think you'll see it hang around for a little while. It's probably going to be that second and third stage where you really get in situations where you can start really abusing the tires.
I like watching Strickler in the 20 because he had the choice. He's ahead of Rhodes there. He had the choice to go low. Decided not to. I think his nickname has something to do with running up high, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Calling the high side tickler, and he's definitely up there doing that right now. But, I think we saw at the end of the first heat, those guys were a lot faster when they moved up. And I think it's kind of somewhere, evening out now as it gets a little further around out there to go.
And if you're prepping the track, I'm guessing you're pretty happy with yourself right now, right? Seeing guys running low and high, that's a good thing.
Yeah, for sure. I think this is better than we ever saw it in practice yesterday, even at the beginning. So I think they did a good job of kind of finding some things they did wrong yesterday and made it better today, even with the rain.
Schatz up there working the top side now, getting around the 40 truck of Ryan Truex.
Listen to him work that gas. That just sounds like fun to me, Kevin.
Yeah, that's definitely a guy who's been used to driving things with the rear wheels to turn instead of the front wheels, and he's doing that right now for sure.
Vince, we talked about the passing points, and right now Todd Gillen, he's up 4 spots, so he's doing a nice job of taking advantage of those passing points. We have caution on the speedway.
5 to go, and remember, just the green flag laps count toward the 15 laps here in this qualifying race.
Waiting for a word from NASCAR, see what exactly caused this caution. You said Schatz was an intelligent racer. Look at him, he looks intelligent. Got those glasses.
Yeah, for sure.
So Gilliland, the biggest mover from 10th to 6th. Zane Smith has led them all. Strickler with a good battle with Ben Rhodes for second for several laps before he wrestled away. And,
I don't understand.
This is why we are under caution. Accidentally through the white. And that's not the next to the last lap. There are still 5 to go. Whoops.
What?
I don't know that I've ever seen that.
I think I would agree with you, Vince. I don't think I ever have.
I think they call that a fun caution. Group everybody back up so we can have some more fun.
Well, I'm having fun. This is so cool seeing the way this track. I was so worried about the weather, but I don't know if the rain or just the Duncan family and their expertise on grooming the dirt, they've done a nice job.
Quickly to Jamie Howe with Josh Berry, the race 1 winner.
And he's never really raced on the dirt before, Vince, so this was very much so a learning experience for you. What were you able to gather out there?
I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure I still know what I'm doing yet. I've been learning by the fly. I thought we had a pretty good practice yesterday. We just weren't real sure what the track would do. I've just been trying to learn and figure out as much as I can. And I don't know, we got out front and checked out right there. So I think we have a good truck. Thank you, Curtis, Willie, Rackley Roof, and everybody for putting me in this deal. And it's pretty cool to get to go do this. They could have picked a lot of more qualified dirt drivers than me, but we're going to try to I'm just going to try to race like I know, just be smart, be there at the end, and see what we can do.
You know what it's like out front, Vince?
Yeah, good stuff. And driver with the experience of Josh Berry. And even those experienced drivers come across something new every now and then as a challenge.
You
Very
know,
cool.
what I love is Josh Berry really looked up to Willie Allen, one of the owners of this team, and they raced together when Josh was coming up in Tennessee, and to get to drive his truck and then win this heat for him, it's got to be special.
Yeah, Rackley wore Willie Allen Racing and Rackley Roofing. It's been a good combination. Zane Smith down on the bottom and Kyle Strickler up top in that 20. That 20 truck. Sponsored by Scott Crow and Crow Equipment this week as they celebrate a big anniversary with their company. So congratulations. Good to see that black and yellow running up toward the front here in Knoxville.
You know what I think's so cool? Kevin, and you've lived with this. They say they throw that green flag, you want to mat the gas? That ain't going to work on dirt, is it?
No, for sure. The guys at the bottom probably have a little advantage. They've got some moisture to get their left rear down in, but up on the top, usually that's not very grabby to take off on.
Matt Crafton on the move, working on his teammate Ben Rhodes. Good view of Crafton in that neon yellow truck out of the windshield of Donnie Schatz.
Just watch him work those hands, Vince, and the feet as well. I mean, it's just such an art racing on the dirt.
Strickler for the lead.
Wow. Making that top work.
Yeah.
Strickler in the 20 gets around Zane Smith with 3 to go.
You can almost see what is the beginning of kind of actually a cushion that they're getting into one of just a little lip that he's able to enter out there on and really make some speed.
You talked about a fun caution, bunching them up and having a little more fun. Fun for everyone except Zane Smith, who had checked out and was going to win this heat race, and instead they had to restart, and Strickler got him on the restart, and Strickler out front as you watch the 38 of Gilliland, the 99 of Rhodes, just inside the top 5.
Gillen stuck it in the fence last night. To be able to rebound and run as strongly as he is in this heat, that's got to feel good for him.
Hey, the white flag is out again.
Oh, good.
For real this time.
He's going to have a lot of points if he can clear Rhodes.
Yeah, that's a good heat for, especially considering what he went through yesterday. Good heat for Gillen.
Zane Smith, he sticks
fighting
it
back
down in there, but not going to be enough as Strickler wins qualifying race number 2. Great effort from Matt Crafton. Todd Gilliland from 10th to 4th. Here's a good look at that Kyle Strickler Crow Equipment Chevrolet. Now I got a little housework to do.
Welcome back to Knoxville Raceway. We have just completed the second of our 4 heat qualifying races for tonight's 150 race. Kyle Strickler, you just won it. You said you're going to keep that nickname, your Saturday night nickname, the High Side Tickler. What were you able to pick up on out there?
You know, just having a good starting spot like that, I wanted to make sure that I didn't do anything stupid off the start there. And it's a lot different in NASCAR world here, coming to restarts and everything. We can play a lot more games on Saturday night with the local short track stuff. So I didn't want to get called on a jump, so I kind of hung back a little bit there. And then I seen that top coming in, and that's where we like to make a living up there on the top. And did a little high side tickling for all these great dirt track fans. But man, this is so awesome. I can't thank everybody at Young's Motorsports. Tyler and I been buddies for a long time, and for him to give me this opportunity to run this. Crow Equipment, huge thanks for them, and got a lot of my Saturday night sponsors here. G-Style Trucking and Charlie Donaldson Grading and Jervis Shock Repair. So this is awesome. One for the Dirt Boys.
Look at that smile on his face. That's what it's all about, Vince.
Yeah, that's for sure. Great job, Jamie, and great job, Kyle. As you see our finishing results from race 2. So our qualifying results, remember, from these 4 qualifying races will end up ultimately setting the lineup for tonight's 150-lap feature. And the big mover in that particular qualifying race was Todd Gilliland, going from 10th to 4th.
And you see he's got 13 points. That's tied with Haley Deegan as the most. So right now, those 2 would be your front row starters. We'll see how the next 2 heats impact exactly how we're going to start this feature tonight.
Heat race number 3, Chris Windham in the 0-2. Got the call about an hour before race time that he was going to jump into the 2 in place of Michael Annette, who practiced the truck yesterday. And so Windham will have to go to the back, but he's actually wearing Michael Annette's uniform. Wyndham has some dirt experience, obviously, in the USAC ranks. In fact, a Triple Crown champion, one of 7 to win the Sprint, Silver Crown, and Midget titles in USAC.
Vince, back there with Wyndham is John Hunter Nemechek. We know Nemechek had a crash yesterday, went to a spare truck.
In the backup.
So now he's in the back with Wyndham. Those 2 have quite different perspectives of how it's going to look to race through the field. Wyndham just got into town. John Hunter's in a new truck.
How about the challenge for Wyndham, Kevin, in regards to a dirt track driver, obviously, but getting in this truck in this lap coming up is the very first one he's going to have.
Yeah, it's like we were talking about yesterday of just getting your seat right, getting your steering wheel right. He didn't get a chance to do that. He's just going to have to go make a lap at speed, you know, around trucks immediately here. So it's going to be kind of a culture shock from what he's been doing.
Yeah, he's been on the grounds less than an hour, and he is in the truck. Heat race number 3 underway. The 51 of Brian Brown leading them into turn 1.
Jack Wood up on the outside in that 24 truck. Nice run through 1 and 2 for Jack. We know Brian Brown knows everything there is to know about this racetrack. Wood, really strong start.
Cross has got a really good opportunity to make a lot of points here. Looked good yesterday.
Brown on the bottom. Jack Wood not giving up from the top side. Tyler Rankin right there behind him in the 26.
There's Jessica Friesen in the 62. Jessica's an accomplished dirt racer. Johnny Sauter needs a big night here. You know, we get carried away with the dirt, the truckers sliding and having fun. We're also racing for playoff points and playoff berths. Who can make their way and make a story tonight by having a great night and maybe win this race and get into playoffs?
It's the next to the last race in the regular season. So Sauter, who is the first driver on the outside looking in, running out of time this week. And then the regular season finale, there's Sauter on the 13th regular season finale in Watkins Glen. How about Jamie Howe on Sauter in the 13th?
Johnny and his crew chief, Joe Shear Jr., they knew coming into here they were going to be a little behind. This is not their bread and butter here. This racetrack on the dirt or the next one at Watkins Glen, they need to make something happen. Johnny actually has been sitting in that truck through the first 2 stages while his spotter, David Pepper, was out there telling him what he was seeing so that Johnny could wrap his head around it before he got behind the wheel. He knows he's got to make something with it.
Derek Kraus on the outside. Raced this past Tuesday night tonight, Vince, and Slinger, Wisconsin was second in the Slinger Nationals. Was really looking forward to getting out here on the dirt. Had a great practice yesterday, and now he's passed up to 4th position, so good run. See him on the outside there in the Napa truck.
Battle for the lead. Ankrum in the 26. Going to squeeze Jack Wood, and Ankrum holding on to the top spot. Eric Kraus trying to come around for 3rd on Brian Brown.
Are you surprised Brian hasn't moved forward, Kevin, or what do you think?
I think he's just trying to be comfortable. I'm sure, you know, yesterday it didn't race a lot like this, so it's kind of a very different thing to race around people than it was just to run laps. So I'm sure he's just trying not to do anything silly, and knows if he can at least run 3rd or 4th, he'll start in a decent spot and you know, show up with the fenders on it for the race.
Looks like he's really starting to work the bottom, making some good ground. He drove right up on the back of Wood there.
It may be a deal where he's just not comfortable getting the thing too sideways yet and really knowing where his limits are. So he's just you know, taking it easy here, though. It looks like to be picking up the pace here as we go.
Oh, nice move there. Like we said, dead on the bottom, was able to get around Wood.
That's for 3rd. John Hunter Nemechek. Of course, he's going to be starting at the back of the feature because he went to a backup, so they've brought it in. Let's go and get more on that situation with Jamie Little.
Yes, not to be concerned. This was all part of the plan, Vince, since they did have to go to a backup truck. Eric Phillips, the crew chief, told me they were just going to run a couple laps, make sure everything was good on this truck, and bring it in, because there is nothing to gain at this point. He'll drop to the back, as you mentioned.
Well, and really, that's the case for Chris Windham as well. He's going to have to drop to the back for the feature, but I think maybe the laps are a little more valuable for Windham.
Yeah, for sure. He wants to get all 15 in and, you know, learn as much as he can about, you know, what he needs to do later. The 4 obviously knows that he's just going to wear his tires out. He's probably happy with what he's got and went out and shook it down, and he'll go later from the back.
There's Jessica. She's currently running in the 6th position. It's cool that she'll get a start tonight. Tried to make the race at Bristol, but rain kept her from doing so. And very talented dirt racer. Married to Stuart Friesen, their husband and wife couple. They ran 1-2 at Fonda, New York last August. That had to be pretty cool for young Parker, their son, to be able to cheer mom and dad. Vince, do you know who Parker was pulling for? Was he pulling for Jessica or dad?
I'm guessing that he was probably pulling for mom. You know, when it all comes down to it, moms are got a little affinity for the moms.
Yeah, they run the household for sure. You can see Kraus really making that topside work, closing in on our leader.
Yeah, right now he's on the pole, and if he can make this one more spot count, it'd be 2 more points to put him way ahead in the tally for now. Actually, Ankrum would be on the front row with him. That bumped him off the front row to lose the lead here.
Now, Kraus started this qualifying race in 10th of 10. Well, officially started 10th of 10, but then they had to have Nemechek and Windham drop to the back. So Kraus is on the move up to 2nd, and he has accumulated the most passing points and finishing points at this point with 3 to go. So it would be Kraus and Ankrum on the front row if it would happen to end at this point. So got another qualifying race to go.
It's just inching towards him, just barely a little bit better than him. I don't know if he's got 2 laps to get up there and make the pass.
Jessica Friesen on the right side in that 62. Working on Jack Wood for 5th.
Trying to make some ground there. Looks like she's a little bit faster than Wood right now as we...
Jessica and Stewart, by the way, in starting the race tonight, would be the first husband-wife combination since 1998. Elton Sawyer and Patty Moyse did it in the Xfinity Series. So the first married couple to do that in the NASCAR's Top 3 Series since then. And here comes Tyler Ankrum to get the checkers and win qualifying race number 3. Kraus is 2nd, Brown, Sauter, and Wood rounding out the top 5.
A lot of learning going on too for these racers, making sure they understand exactly what this dirt's going to do. Every lap that they make, you know, it's so much different than asphalt racing. Every lap you make, things change.
Absolutely.
No place like it. Knoxville Raceway.
Well, Welcome back to Knoxville Raceway. What a gorgeous night for racing, about 79 degrees right here in the middle of Iowa. You've seen 3 heat races now, and Tyler Ankrum was the man. That was a nice battle there, and you told me before this whole deal, you're like, I'm having fun, but it's something so different. What kind of confidence does this win give you for tonight?
Oh, it's huge, and I mean, especially having that speed, the track being this way, I mean, it's 180 degrees different than what it was in practice, so I'm super confident in my truck, what Chevrolet and Iona GMS brought to the racetrack, so we're going to watch this final heat and see how the track changes some more. It rutted up a lot right there. So there's a lot of moisture there on the bottom, and Derek was trying to get the top to work. He could get a really good run on entry, just couldn't get it finished on exit. So we'll see how it changes to the race, and let's have some more fun.
Trying to race his way into the playoffs, guys. Right now he's on the outside looking in.
He is indeed a big night for him, that's for sure. And he's off to a good start, winning that qualifying race. And you see the rest of the finishing order. And again, John Hunter Nemechek, after going to that backup, they pulled it in early. No need to run those qualifying race laps because he's going to start the feature at the back regardless.
Saving them Goodyear tires, Vince, making sure he's got some good rubber.
The biggest mover was the 24 of Jack Wood, +8, as we get ready for the 4th and final qualifying race of the night. And boy, it's a big night for Brett Moffitt. He's from the state of Iowa, and I know it means a lot to him to be here racing tonight.
What about that, starting on the pole? I talked to Brett earlier today, and he was really watching the weather. He's got a little race he's going to run tomorrow, too, he thinks. But he's really all about running this truck here in his home state. And what about the number 6? Let's keep our eye on Norm Benning. He was really competitive yesterday in practice.
Got Chase Briscoe in this one as well. There's Briscoe in the 04, starting next to Benning. Norm's still getting after it after all these years.
Been a great track so far. Done a great job on this, so pretty excited that they're able to showcase it kind of correctly, I feel like, compared to yesterday, and made the good changes.
Certainly encouraging, especially considering the weather that moved through earlier today, and we're quite sure what we were going to have tonight here at Knoxville.
Couldn't have turned out any better.
It is beautiful. First time racing for NASCAR here at Knoxville Raceway. Of course, for many years raced at Iowa Speedway, Newton, Iowa, about 30 miles away. First time for NASCAR at Knoxville. Great to be here with Kevin Swindell and Michael Waltrip, Jamie Howe, Jamie Little downstairs. And the final qualifying race of the night is green.
Keep our eye on the 52 of Stuart Friesen, starting back on the last row.
Well, Hocevar drove it in there hard up top, didn't he? Look at Briscoe making it 3 wide.
Not wasting any time.
Hocevar got to the front. Briscoe trying to get by Moffitt.
Moffitt saying, what just happened? I had control of this race. And
could we ease into it? I mean, come on, guys.
He just left that door a little open off of 2 for Chase, and Chase took it.
Rain Infinger poking his nose in there as well in the 98.
Sheldon Creed battling as well. What a great race.
That's 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th right there. Oh, look at that blanket over him.
Looks like he's been really free.
Yeah, he also looks that he's got his legs under him now. He made a great run off turn 4, down on the bottom, trying to take that 2nd spot away from Briscoe.
Austin Hill up into the mix, side by side now with Sheldon Creed. And there is Stuart Friesen lurking behind that group. Carson Hocevar in the white truck is the leader.
Kevin, what do you look like? I'm just keep waiting for that bottom, that right against the berm to really start coming in. What are you looking for? How do you see this track changing throughout the night?
So far, I think if you keep those kind of, little bit of ruts, not really ruts, but kind of just divots there that have all that dark dirt in, keep kind of crumples over across any of the slick, it makes it a lot harder for it to ever take any rubber down there. So as long as they can keep that little bit of moisture and kind of keep it dirty, really, I think it'll stick around. But, if they ever get the top too dirty, everybody's going to migrate down there, and that'll kind of lead us towards what we saw at the end of yesterday.
Enfinger in the yellow and silver 98, and that's Sheldon Creed, the defending series champion in the 2. Enfinger, of course, if you've been with us throughout the course of the season, you know he's been splitting his season between the 98 and the 9 truck, and has been doing a great job at it in the 98 this week for ThorSport. Creed drives for GMS, the defending series champ.
Right behind them, you see the blue truck. That's Friesen. He's not able to gain any ground at all. Carson Hocevar holding the lead, and there's Jess Friesen. Listening, learning, that's what it's all about right now. She's just Jamie Howe. She's just trying to understand what's going on with Stewart and how she can be even better.
Well, both of them ended practice yesterday not 100% happy with their trucks. They made some really big changes. Stewart said it was pretty wholesale. So wholesale, in fact, they didn't have enough parts to do the same changes on both trucks. I asked him, well, which one's going to be better? Then he said, you know, we really don't know, but his was the bigger changer of the two of them.
Well, I was going to say, if Stewart's smart, he's going to give Jessica all the best parts.
Well, right now, it looks like they both have the same parts because they both got the same problems. Not enough speed in those Almar trucks.
Yeah, I almost wonder if we're seeing some of these guys who were kind of set up for what we saw at the end with a lot of grip, you know, down on the bottom, and now they're just, it was okay for some of those guys earlier when you had grip in the moisture. Now that the track's slowing down overall, it's just making it tough on these guys who probably had a truck that turned yesterday when it had the grip.
I want to tell you, a guy that will find grip on the bottom, whether we're on a 1.5 mile or a short track at Bristol, Austin Hill. He does a great job of getting his truck to hook up around the bottom of the racetrack. He always seems to do better in the long run, too. He can really figure out the grip and where it is on the racetrack, and he's doing that in this heat race.
That's Hill in the 16, Moffitt in the 37. Of course, Moffitt, a former series champion when he was driving the 16 truck, we might add.
Still seeing time-wise, both lanes are, you know, it almost seems like the bottom's better, but you know, looking at the times, it's about even when guys run top or bottom.
5 laps remaining in this 4th and final qualifying race. There's the total heat points down there in the bottom left of that pylon as they currently stand. And remember, the most heat points accumulated will start from the pole. That's how they're going to set up the 40 truck lineup tonight.
I like this formula. Makes it fun to see guys move through the field.
4 laps remaining as Moffitt and Hill continue to battle for 3rd. Kevin, how would you want to set up? We know the truck and the track is going to be changing. The track is going to be changing throughout the course of the night. How do you want your truck set up, knowing the evolvement that it's going to endure?
It's hard to say. You know, you would definitely want to be on the tighter side, I think, for sure. You know, early, and you know, try to build in some adjustability to where on this, you know, the stops that you can kind of free yourself up, I think, is if it does lay rubber. But you know, I think now and at least for the first half of the race, I think you would want to be more on the tight side. And you know, it seems like you don't make as much speed with the back hung out. And you know, I think that's something that maybe Moffitt's kind of figured out as we go here, is he seems to be running a lot straighter than he was at the beginning. And you know, obviously they didn't make any changes, and he's been able to pick up speed.
Final lap in this 4th and final qualifying race. Yes, Moffitt has disposed of his battle with Austin Hill and is now on the hunt and tracking down Chase Briscoe in this final lap for 2nd.
Fastest lap time was Moffitt last time around. Now he dives to the bottom. Can he take that spot away?
He's going to probably run out of time here, but as Carson Hocevar takes the win and Briscoe gets 2nd, Moffitt is 3rd. Another lap or 2, I think Moffitt would have had him. Heat races are complete. Qualifying races are complete for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series here at Knoxville Raceway, and Jamie Howe is with the driver who's going to start from the pole.
And that is Derek Kraus. Vince, it is now his 2nd career pole position in the NASCAR Truck Series, but you've never raced here at Knoxville. What kind of advantage do you think this is going to give you for the 150-lap challenge you have ahead?
Just clean track ahead of us. I mean, starting on the pole, hopefully we'll be able to jump up to a lead and take this Napa Power Premium Plus Toyota Tundra to lead a bunch of laps and hopefully victory lane tonight.
Good luck. Vince?
His previous pole was at Nashville, and now on the pole at Knoxville. Not quite as similar as you might think. Knoxville, Iowa tonight. Qualifying races complete, little track prep going on, and then we're going to line up and go racing for the Corn Belt 150. And the 40 truck field will be led by Derek Kraus, who scored the most points during our qualifying races. Kraus and Ankrum up front. Todd Gilliland, Haley Deegan in the second row. Got some veterans back there with Matt Crafton, a former Eldora winner.
You know what I love about this lineup, Vince? I was just looking at it. There's trucks that can literally win from any position, it looks like, on the starting grid. Cody Erickson had a good run in his heat race. There you see Chase Purdy really fast yesterday. And we know Chris Wyndham's going to figure this out.
Going to make it interesting for sure. You saw Jessica Friesen in there. John Hunter Nemechek will come from deep because he had to go to a backup truck after an accident last night. Race day is coming your way next, right after this commercial break. And we're going to go racing tonight from Knoxville. Stay with us.
As the sun sinks and the lights flicker, anticipation begins to build. There are just 2 races left to go before the playoffs. 2 races to find out who's in and who's out. Tonight, the trucks return to the dirt. But this isn't just any old track. This is hallowed ground. And there's only one thing that matters: winning. It's time to let the dust fly and the tempers flare. And ooh, it's gonna be good. Knoxville Race Day starts now.
The time has finally arrived for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series to take on an iconic venue in motorsports, Knoxville Raceway. Tonight, the truck teams will battle on the dirt in Iowa with just 2 races remaining of the regular season and playoff spots on the line. It is sure to be one wild night. And we're going to break it all down here on Race Day. Hey, everybody, welcome in. I'm Caitlin Vinci alongside my friends and partners on the Truck Series, Phil Parsons, Todd Bodine. Great to have the 2 of you here as always. Okay, it's a new venue. We're on the dirt. We've got new faces in the field, but we also have the regulars. Who are you watching?
Well, I tell you what, I like Matt Crafton. You know, Matt went out a little late in practice yesterday after the track had slicked off, and his truck was really good. Went out, and as the practice went on, the track took some rubber, changed again, and his truck was even better. But the thing that I liked about Matt is when racing his dirt modified, he's learned how to read the racetrack, and we know how important that is in dirt racing. And yes, I think as this race progresses and keeps changing as it goes, and we saw in the qualifying races, it was a totally different track again. I think Matt might have a little advantage.
You know, I kept my eye on, I'm going to keep my eye on tonight, Chandler Smith, because I basically think we had 3 different racetracks during practice. It was tacky when they started, then it got dry, slick, a little bit slippery through the middle, and then it rubbered up and got just locked down at the end. And I thought Chandler Smith's truck was pretty good in all 3 conditions. Obviously, we know he was the fastest truck in practice because he had the quickest time, but he's also on a roll lately. The last 4 races, he's gained 66 points to the cut line. He was 35 points below the cut line 4 races ago, and now he's 31 points above the cut line. He's on a roll. He needs to keep it with only 2 left.
Good problem to have, being above that cut line, right? So those are some of the regulars to keep an eye on, but we have some new faces, as I mentioned, in the field. Here they are. Parker Price Miller, a dirt ace, is in the field, along with Cup Series regular Chase Briscoe, Donnie Schatz, who we will hear from later in the show. Brett Moffitt, a former Truck Series champion, is back, along with Brian Brown joining the field in a KBN truck, and Jessica Friesen, the better half of Stuart Friesen. We'll have more with that duo later in the show. So those drivers could steal valuable points from some of our series regulars, because as far as the playoffs go, well, guys, they are very quickly approaching. We just have 2 races to go in the regular season. The race to the playoffs, as we call it. Of course, tonight we are in in the dirt in Knoxville, Iowa. It's sure to be an entertaining race. Then we will head up to New York, Watkins Glen, August 7th for the finale for the regular season, and then the playoffs will be here. So how does the leaderboard look as we approach this race tonight? We've had 4 race winners, all in yellow, who are locked in. Also, Austin Hill is the 5th driver officially in, made it in on points as of last race at Pocono at the cut line. It's not good news for former champion, guys, of the series, Johnny Sauter. He's 31 below the line, lost 16 to the cut after Pocono. And you see the decline at Darlington, Coda, and Charlotte. He was still above the line, but since then, a slow decline, steadily dropping for Sauter, 31 points below after a 35th place finish at Pocono. So, 2 drivers, 2 very different scenarios. Chandler Smith's above the line, Johnny Sauter's below it. Who has the edge of these 2, you think?
Well, I don't know if either one has the edge. I think it's a little different. I think Chandler Smith got to be on the defensive a little bit. You know, he's got a 31-point cushion. You know, don't make mistakes. Don't do anything to take yourself out of a decent finish. You know, maybe get a couple stage points along the way. Just kind of be a little on the defensive. But Johnny Sauter, he's got nothing to lose, right? Go out, be on the offense, go get him, rough him up like we know Johnny loves to do. And, you know, tonight I talked to Ben Rhodes this afternoon, and he said Johnny got out after practice and was smiling and laughing.
What?
He said,
he's smiling?
He's never seen him laughing at a dirt track. So maybe tonight he can get some points gained.
I like it.
I agree with you on Johnny Sauter. I think Johnny Sauter needs to be on the offense, but I disagree with you on Chandler Smith.
Of course.
I think he needs to be on offense, too, because I think we have a couple guys below the cut line. And I didn't think this earlier in the week, that somebody below the cut line could win a race here on the dirt, but there's a couple guys that have looked really good. Derek Kraus and Tyler Ankerman both looked really good through the qualifying races. So if somebody below the cut line wins, and that moves that cut line up above Chandler Smith. So I think he needs to be looking north at Carson Hocevar and try to catch him.
This is what makes this format so exciting. You just don't know what's going to happen, and there's 2 races to go. It's going to be really interesting to see. But we are just getting started right here on race day. Still to come, what does it take to get around Knoxville Raceway? We will discuss that as we ride along here with Haley Deegan, who will be strong today. There's no doubt about that. Plus, Jessica Friesen, the better half of Stuart Friesen, will be competing against her husband tonight. We join the racing pair after this. Stay with us right here on FS1. Welcome back to Race Day with a look at our reigning champion, Sheldon Creed. He led 23 laps on the dirt at Bristol. He ended up 16th, though, on the day. He will be one to watch. Plus, Ben Rhodes, what about him? He finished runner-up at Bristol, and he's already a 2-time winner so far this season. He will certainly be a threat tonight. So, how did things play out the last time we raced on the dirt? Here's a look back at Bristol.
We're racing on the dirt at Bristol.
That is awesome. I love watching these trucks sideways.
Oh, man, Derek Kraus just could not get it stopped.
Kicking up some dust.
Big hit for Larson in the right side door. His first career Truck Series win. Martin Truex Jr. on the dirt at Bristol.
That ended up being a great day for Martin Truex Jr. Who else finished in the top 5? You see him here. Ben Rhodes was the runner-up. Rafael Lessard, Todd Gillen, and Chase Briscoe. So some of these guys could once again be a factor tonight. And for more on 2 of these drivers, we now join our duo of Jamies on pit road, Jamie Little and Jamie Howe. And with an update on Ben Rhodes, we'll begin with Jamie Little.
Hello, Caitlin. Yes, Ben Rhodes, you see the flags right here. That means he's a 2-time winner on this season already. And you throw back to Bristol. You guys just talked about it. He was the dark horse, I would say. He finished 2nd behind Martin Truex Jr. I think he was as surprised as anybody. So I asked him what his chances are here coming back to a dirt race. And he said, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm having fun. And this is a stacked field tonight. But he does have his work cut out for him. As much fun as he's having, he's starting back in 18th. But I would certainly keep your eye on the 99. Jamie Howe.
Well, Jamie, Chase Briscoe is taking a Friday night away from his Cup duties to come out here and do the same thing. Just have some fun. He is back in the 04 from Roper Racing, and he said it's just like hanging out with a bunch of friends at the dirt track, except that he actually gets to drive. He said the truck, though, was so tight in practice, they found a kitchen sink, they threw it at it. In qualifying, he said they went the other way. So now they're way too loose. They get to fine-tune themselves out of that number 13th starting position. But, Caitlin, I would not count Chase Briscoe out.
Thank you, Jamie. Great insight there from the Jamies. Love that. Throw the kitchen sink at it. Didn't work, you know. Okay, so we've been talking about the fact we raced on dirt earlier this season at Bristol. These are both dirt tracks, but is that pretty much where the similarities end? What do you think, Todd?
That's exactly where it ends, Caitlin. You know, Bristol, high banks, lots of banking, load the trucks up, you know, tight corners, drive it down in there, load it up, get back in the gas, and you go again. Knoxville is exactly the opposite. Long, sweeping, flat corners. It's all about finesse. Driving it down in there, a little bit of brake, get that thing sideways and ease back in that gas pedal. It's a totally different animal than Bristol. And we watched these guys in the qualifying races, and they did a great job prepping the track, and it made it really wide. Bristol, you could run anywhere, up top to bottom. We saw in the practice yesterday, these guys running right around the bottom, not so much in these qualifying races. They made the track really wide.
And I know we talked about drivers who were strong in the top 5 from Bristol. What of those guys do you think might be good once again today?
Well, I think Todd Gilliland and Ben Rhodes, you know, were awfully good. And the thing is, with a dirt track, you have to stay up with a racetrack. The track changes, it's ever changing. And both of those guys adapted well. We'll have a couple breaks at the end of the stages. They will be able to work on these trucks. Again, we talked last night. The track had 3 different scenarios. And I think we're going to see the same thing. I think this track will rubber up as we get towards the end. And I think these guys did a great job at Bristol keeping up with it, and I think they'll do the same thing tonight.
Lots of things to keep our eyes on, though, as this track will continue to change throughout the course of the night. Now, one driver in the field tonight is a Knoxville and dirt racing legend with 10 World of Outlaw Sprint Car Championships. Donnie Schatz will join the show next. Stay with us on race day as we get you ready for Knoxville, Iowa. Welcome back to Race Day, where we are seeing Brett Moffitt, the 2018 champion in the Truck Series, and a Grimes, Iowa native. He's back in the field this evening, giving the thumbs up. He'll be in that 37 truck. And another local Iowa driver is Devin Rouse, who is looking to make his Truck Series debut tonight as well. But he is not alone. He is one of 6 drivers making their Truck Series debut tonight. Parker Price Miller's a dirt regular, along with Donnie Schatz, who we'll hear from shortly, along with Morgan Alexander, Brian Brown in the field for Kyle Busch Motorsports, and Jessica Friesen, who'll be racing her husband for the first time in the Truck Series. And I mentioned Brian Brown, and he's running for Kyle Busch Motorsports. And some more information about him: he's 5th all-time at Knoxville with 53 wins in a 410 sprint car, and he's a 5-time Knoxville track champion. Not too bad. But Brian Brown, he's good on the dirt, but the guy he's finished second to many of times in a sprint car is 10-time World of Outlaws champion Donnie Schatz. So if you don't know who Donnie is, well, he's 43 years old from North Dakota, and in addition to his World of Outlaw championships, he's also a 10-time Knoxville Nationals winner with 300 World of Outlaw wins. Right now, Jamie Little is standing by with the dirt racing legend himself.
Yes, Donnie Schatz is a legend here at Knoxville, but for the first time, you are in NASCAR in a truck. What's this experience been like for you so far?
Pretty humbling. A lot different truck, a lot of different formalities. So having a lot of fun with it. It's a lot of fun to drive. It's a lot heavier than I'm used to. Things don't respond as quick as what you're used to. So it's definitely a new experience. But they still hang out there. They'll stick it up on the top of these racetracks in the dirt and have a lot of fun with them. So looking forward to see what we can do in 150 laps.
Well, we know your real job is driving for Tony Stewart. So has he given you any advice? Have you had a chance to talk to him about this experience?
Before I got here, you know, he gave me a lot of advice. Ken Schrader gave me a lot of advice. A lot of the dirt guys. So, you know, they'll only tell you so much what you can, and the rest you got to figure out on your own. And Tony's no different. So, he's helped me in everything I've done. So we'll see what we can't figure out here and do a good job.
It's great seeing you out here mixing it up with these boys. Have fun tonight.
Thank you. I will.
Caitlin?
Thank you, Jamie. Well, Tony Stewart certainly is a good guy to learn from when you say, okay, so we saw him racing in the qualifying races in practice. What do you expect out of him in the main event?
I was really impressed last night during practice. We had an onboard footage, and when that racetrack rubbered up and it really locked down, all the dirt experts tell me that when that happens, you have to drive it like pavement and drive it straight. We had an onboard view, and he was only turning that steering wheel left.
Right.
That means he was driving it like pavement. He caught on quick. I really wondered whether those dirt guys would catch on, and he certainly did. Brian Brown did as well, and all the other guys doing a great job too, but I think Donnie Schatz is a threat.
Yeah, what do you think, Todd?
Yeah, you know, the thing about Donnie, I mean, yeah, I was super impressed how smooth he was on the steering wheel in practice in that in-truck camera. But the thing about Donnie is, Nobody in this field tonight knows this track and this dirt like he does. And I think, like we talked about a little while ago, the track's going to change as the night goes. And I think that he's going to adapt better than anybody else in this field. And I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see him at the front at the end.
Yeah, well, you guys almost given me a precursor potentially for your picks. I can't really tell what you're trying to subliminally tell me here. But we know Donnie Schatz is very, very strong on the dirt. But another racer who is regarded as one of the very best on dirt is joining us tonight in the booth for the first time for a race broadcast, Kevin Swindell. Kevin won 77 races in various series on dirt, and Knoxville Raceway has been the site of incredible highs and lows of his career. Shannon Spake sat down with both Kevin and his wife Jordan to reflect back on a moment that changed his life at the Iowa track.
Honestly, it was always my favorite racetrack. I thought that was the premier place where a driver could shine.
What do you remember about that day leading up to the accident?
It's one of those things I think where you wish you would have gotten knocked out at some point and kind of put it away. You know, every moment of it sticks with me for sure.
The green flag waves, again stacked up a bit back in the pack. Edlund Jr. into Swindell, and Swindell's into the wall and upside down. Red flag conditions right off the bat here in heat race number 1.
I didn't think anything of it, and then all of a sudden my phone started ringing. I stepped away, like I couldn't look at the white sheets.
There's a point where you know you've been in the air too long kind of thing, and like you kind of start to brace because you know you're going to land, and there was nothing to kind of absorb, you know, the back end and the frame rails collapse. It's more or less just probably like, you know, being on the second story of a building and just falling flat on your butt.
He had a burst fracture on his L1. They monitor your spinal cord while you're in surgery, and so they actually had seen movement on the right side. The doctor looked at me and she just said, honestly, this is a miracle.
So when he came out of surgery and you were able to see him for the first time, what was that like?
My whole rule the whole time that we were in the hospital is if I'm not crying, you're not allowed to cry. So I didn't cry. I didn't ever want to act as if it was some really awful thing that had happened. I didn't want that for him because I felt like if I was strong, then he could be strong.
She was huge. I mean, you know, she basically lived in the hospital for, you know, over a month. You know, I think I might have holed up and gave up if it wasn't for her being around that whole time.
Really?
Yeah, I think so, a little bit. You know, it was tough. I just don't know what else I would have done. I think you just sit there and you know, sort of wilt away in your own kind of thoughts and worry. And I think I might have just got down and sulked on it a little bit more than I had if she wasn't there to push me.
I always wanted for him to be good. That was really all that it was. I don't know how I would have been. You know, I don't know how anyone really would have been in that situation. He handled it better than anyone ever really could have, I think.
At what point do you think that your mind, that you were able to make the flip and stop focusing on what happened and what's not going to be and what Kevin needs to do moving forward?
For the longest time, all I was thinking about was like, can we get, you know, hand controls in so I can run Chili Bowl that year, you know, a few months later, and thinking that I could do a lot of things. And I think you stay positive by kind of hoping for that stuff. But I think as you went, you realize that, you know, a lot of other things mean a lot more than getting back in that race car and putting yourself back in a bad spot.
I always feel like if whatever happens to you is what exactly was supposed to happen to you. And so what happened to us is exactly what's supposed to happen because this is exactly where it's supposed to be. We lived such a beautiful life that we created for ourselves, and that's what I'm most proud of.
A powerful message from the two of them. Thank you to Shannon Spake and to Jordan Kevin for sharing their story. Your takeaways listening to that?
Well, I think what great attitudes they both have. And it was really great to see him in the booth last night with Vince and Michael because I learned a lot listening to him. Obviously, he knows everything there is to know about dirt racing. I learned a lot from him. And I was fortunate enough to be able to call some of the races that he ran in the past. I called an ARCA race at Chicagoland that he led every lap, led all 100 laps and won the race on a mile and a half. So obviously he had a lot of talent on asphalt as well as immense talent on dirt.
Yeah, you know, the thing about Kevin is he's a racer, right? He's going to be around racing. It was born in his blood, and he's got his team now, and he's not going to give up on that, right? And he's a racer, and he's going to be there, and it's fantastic to see him in the booth tonight because, like Phil said, I learned a lot yesterday listening to him, and I know he's going to do a great job tonight.
Yeah, you mentioned his race team, Swindell Speed Lab. He's got his own racing team. His dad races for him, Christopher Bell, so we very much are looking forward to hearing him in the booth tonight. Now, how are these trucks going to line up? Here's the qualifying results. Derek Kraus on the pole, Tyler Ingram, Todd Gillen, Haley Deegan, and Carson Hocevar all within the top 5. You see the top 10 here, rounded out by Chandler Smith. So we're getting closer to racing, and I just mentioned her, Haley Deegan. She's getting set to race out in the dirt. There she is. She will certainly be one to keep an eye on. We're going to actually hear from Haley Deegan next on race day. Stay with us. Welcome back to Race Day. Getting a look at John Hunter Nemechek. So much success he's had this season, 5 wins, but this weekend hasn't gone the way he had hoped. He starts at the rear in a backup truck after an incident in practice. So Matt Crafton, he's another driver we're going to be watching. A past winner on dirt in Eldora several years back. He's looking for that first win of the year. Now, he has won before, with the baby there on board in Iowa, but it was on pavement. And he's part of this list of drivers. As I just mentioned, he won in Iowa in 2011. John Hunter Nemechek and Brett Moffitt also won in the Truck Series, while Chase Briscoe won in the Xfinity Series in Iowa back in 2019. Now, one driver who has had a lot of experience on the dirt and who's raced before at Knoxville is young Haley Deegan, who could once again be a force this evening. Right now, she is standing by with Jamie Howe at the racetrack. Hey, Jamie.
Hey, Caitlin. So Haley's been racing on dirt since she was just 8 years old. That experience has led her to a 4th place starting position tonight. Knowing what you know about Knoxville, knowing what you now know about these race trucks, what do you expect for tonight's race?
Man, it's going to be crazy. I think it's just going to be a battle of attrition out there. There's going to be a lot of stuff that happens. I'm really, really happy I'm starting towards the front and maybe stay out a lot of the carnage that happens early in the race, let it file out, kind of decide where our truck's at, what changes we need to make. I have really no clue which way the track's going to go. If the top's going to be dominant, bottom's going to fall away. I have no clue, so we're just going to have to see as we go, but I'm excited.
It's the first race for the NASCAR trucks here at Knoxville, but you have an onboard in your truck. Take us on a lap. Now, this is from earlier in the weekend. Take us on a lap around here through the mindset of a driver.
Man, it's pretty crazy going through first corner. It's very easy to get loose no matter how tight your truck is. Just getting on the brakes in a turn 1 gets a little loose. It's very hard to get through these corners in a truck because they're so heavy and you feel pretty underpowered and lack of grip. So you almost have to break you down into 2 corners every corner. So you get through turn 1 a little bit. It's usually tight, snaps loose. You just try to find any grip that you can. Straightaways, it's obviously really slick. You don't get wide open. I'd say you get quarter throttle. Going down to turn 3, a little bit loose too. Same as turn 1, but just trying to get through there as straight as possible, not sliding it around.
And certainly hear the energy in your voice. I can't wait to watch it. What about that confidence, though, Caitlin?
Confidence, as always. We always expect to see that out of Haley Deegan. Very cool look there going around the racetrack from her view. Now, still to come right here on Race Day, we're going to hear from another female in the field. Jessica Friesen, the better half of Stuart Friesen, is a decorated racer herself. We check in with the Friesens next as they prepare to race one another in the Truck Series. That's still to come. Stay with us. Welcome back to Race Day as we take a look at Stuart Friesen, who is a past winner on dirt in the Truck Series. He took the victory at Eldora back in 2019. So here is a look back at that win.
I know we're just 2 races away from the playoffs. I don't care. For the next couple hours, I just want to watch guys scramble and fight for all they're worth.
The Dirt Derby underway at Eldora.
No, around.
Big collection.
3 wide up the middle on the back straightaway.
And around goes Chastain.
The wait is over for Stuart Friesen.
He has won at Eldora.
Quite the victory celebration there. And dirt racing runs in the family, with Stuart's wife, Jessica, also holding her own on the track since she was just a young girl. Tonight, they will race against each other for the first time in the Truck Series. So here's a closer look at the Friesen family of racers.
Ready? I'll take you over. Right, Mommy and Daddy are gonna go over to the track, okay? You gonna go play Play-Doh? Yeah. Hey, I'll see you in a little bit, okay? Give me a hug. It's gonna be a couple hours, okay? I love you. Have fun.
Wow, I just had a goal inside.
Where's our baby?
Our lifestyle is racing. I started racing go-karts locally in upstate New York.
We're doing it.
Raced go-karts until I was 14, and then I started racing dirt sportsmen and modifieds.
We both, grew up in racing. Well, we started crossing paths at races. You see this like hot blonde in a fire suit, and you just, kind of do a double take.
I remember passing him in the pit area and him just kind of looking at me funny and awkwardly saying hi.
She said hi back, so that was good. Started seeing each other a lot more. Standing next to each other at drivers' meetings, puppy dog stuff. From then, that's when we started dating. We spent years traveling all over racing. 2 days after our wedding, we raced against each other in a 360 wing sprint car race. It was a big race, and Stuart ended up winning, and I ran second. That was pretty cool right after we got married. Once we got married, we decided we wanted to start a family. We became pregnant and had an excellent 2015 season. I was 6 or 7 months pregnant, crew chiefing on the sprint car. Really super pregnant, and where I am turning wrenches on the car and changing torsion bars at the track, and we actually got a win. That was pretty cool. After becoming a mom, I thought, I'll get to race someday. Racing was kind of on the sidelines. I didn't get to race for a while at all. And then I slowly started getting back into it a little bit here and there, running a couple races a year. Our life is definitely at the dirt track. That's where we grew up. That's where we're bringing Parker up. That's where our extended families are, like the amazing group of people that we have with us on our dirt teams. And, our life is racing. To have the opportunity to be able to get behind the wheel of a truck and to be able to compete at that level is an amazing opportunity. And to be able to do it and have Parker with us and be a part of it, we're living the life that we always dreamed of living, and we're doing it together, and it's amazing.
I love getting a glimpse behind the scenes of that family's life. Very cool couple, I might add. Both respected racers in their own rights. What do you think, though, the car ride home might be like if they wreck each other?
Well, I know many times my wife, Marcia, was beside me on the way home, and I vented over something that happened during the race, something with my car, what somebody did. I can't imagine looking over and say, Marcia, I was mad at so-and-so. She said, well, I had my own problems during the race. Right. My car did this and did that, so I couldn't imagine that. Anyway, but they do a great job, and what a great picture that feature ended with Parker.
Yes, absolutely.
Yesterday they interviewed Stuart during the practice session, and he was changing something on his car and was trying to make it better. And Jamie asked him, well, if it's better, are you going to let Jessica in on it? He said, well, I don't know. It depends how nice she is later on. And so, they're husband and wife, but they're competitors. They're out there to race and beat each other every chance they can.
Yes, they are. And this is just such a unique and fun story in the sport. One of the first times we've obviously ever seen husband and wife. Did your wife say hi back to you when you said hey at the track, or what? No?
Always.
Always. Good. Yours?
I had to work on
You got a high back? No high back. Well, all right. Okay, we are getting closer to racing out at Knoxville, Iowa. You see a great look there at the beautiful racetrack. A little over 22 minutes until the command. There's a look at Stuart. The guys are getting ready. We'll be racing shortly. Stay with us.
If this dirt could talk, where would it begin? The very roots of our sport were dug into clay and soil, starting with rebellious men skirting the edge of the law and growing into a long-standing love affair with speed, inherited from generation to generation. For decades, NASCAR shied away from these tracks for cleaner, more controlled surfaces. Some rebelled, as us racers always do. If there's not dirt in your beer, you ain't at a real race, they'd say. Even with the unforgettable moments on pavement. That original call to the dirt could not be silenced. But why dirt? It's full contact, always on the edge. Slip, slide, drive. The dirt could be a commanding ally or my worst enemy. There's no trust, only talent or struggle. If this dirt could talk, it would tell you a history of thrills and chills, where we seek the soil's affection or mercy. If this dirt could talk, I imagine it would say, welcome home.
If that doesn't get you pumped up for a dirt race, I don't know what will. Well, Matt Crafton, he's ready to go. A past champ and a past dirt winner, Phil.
Yeah, and he's probably comfortable enough in the points that he probably will lock himself in the playoffs. So no pressure. Just go out there and have fun.
Go out and have fun. Todd Gilliland, he also doesn't really have a whole lot of pressure because he's already won so far this season. Won out at the road course in Coda. What do you think about him, Todd?
I think Todd's got a great chance. You know, he finished 4th at Bristol, did a great job. Of course, he got in the wall in practice, but they got that thing fixed, and he's ready to go.
He looks ready to go, giving us the thumbs up. What about Derek Krause? He has been turning some heads as of late. He's starting on the pole, not too bad for this young racer.
Yeah, on the pole, and there's no pressure on him. He knows he has to win. He's far enough below the cut line that he has to win, and he's got a shot at it tonight.
He does, leading the field to green for Derek Krause. And speaking of leading the field to green, let's take a look at the starting grid for tonight's race. Row 1, Derek Krause, Tyler Ankrum. Row 2 is occupied by Todd Gilliland and Haley Deegan. Further back in the field, Matt Crafton on row 5, along with Chandler Smith, Josh Berry, Chase Briscoe. Guys, what catches your eye from this starting lineup?
How about Ben Rhodes and Brett Moffitt? That's going to be a strong row back in row number 9.
It's going to be a lot of fun watching Donnie Schatz coming from 22nd, I can tell you that.
Yes, it certainly will. We know this is going to be an exciting race because we just have 2 races to go until the playoffs. Time now to go to Iowa for our pre-race ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we'd ask that you all please rise. Gentlemen, removing your caps. Presenting the nation's colors, the Iowa State Sheriffs and Deputies Association Honor Guard. With tonight's invocation from the Knoxville and Columbia United Methodist Church, Pastor Brent Hanna.
Would you bow your heads in prayer? Loving and gracious God, we thank you for this perfect evening as we gather together and welcome everyone to the Knoxville Raceway. We pray your continued blessing upon this great nation, and we pray that you would watch over our military people, our service people, and also bless our veterans. God, tonight we pray your almighty protection upon the track and upon the drivers, the NASCAR drivers, their families, the crew, the friends. We just pray that protection. And we also pray for the NASCAR staff. We pray for the EMTs, and we would pray too for the great fans here, the NASCAR fans, in this great racetrack of dirt. We ask these and other blessings that we would never imagine in your precious name, Jesus the Christ. Amen.
Please remain standing for the national anthem by harmonica from Phil Haig.
What did you guys think of that?
I loved it. How about that crowd, too, huh?
Great crowd on hand. Sheldon Creed, you see him there getting set to go. Where's the nerves at, you think, on these guys getting ready to roll off?
I think it's pretty hyped up. You know, these guys in the back, it's going to be tough. We watched them in the qualifying races. The outside came in. It's going to be tough to pass, though.
There's Zane Smith right there. I think, again, they don't know what the racetrack's going to bring. Some of the guys with the dirt experience have an idea, but they really don't know because they worked on this track track after the qualifying races.
Well, we heard Haley say she has no clue what it's going to do, so
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
A lot of unknowns going into this race, but I do want to touch on an added incentive that is coming down tonight from Camping World. The series sponsor doing so much for the trucks this year, and for several seasons, they are awarding the driver leading the points after this race an additional $75,000. This is such a cool incentive, is it not, guys?
It really is. Marcus Lemonis has done so much for the sport, sponsored a bunch of unsponsored trucks, the Triple Truck Challenge. John Hunter Nemechek has probably have enough of a cushion that he's going to get that $75,000 after the night. He's already got $50,000 of Marcus's money by winning Charlotte, part of the Triple Truck Challenge. So it's great format.
I guarantee you one thing, he's not going to give it back because he's got all that other money. $75,000, that goes a long way for these teams. And, you know, it's like winning the whole race to get that kind of money. So good for Marcus, and thank you for supporting the sport.
Absolutely. It's a great incentive for the teams to get a little extra cash in the pocket. We've talked about Donnie Schatz. Here he is getting into the truck. One of the best guys on the dirt. We can expect him to be strong, right? I mean, how can you bet against him?
Yeah, so impressed last night with the job he did in practice. Caught onto these trucks, these heavy vehicles. We talked to him a little while ago. He said it's so much different than what he's used to, but he's just a talented race car driver. Nobody knows Knoxville better than him.
I've never raced on dirt, but I know that I'm going to pay attention to his onboard because I'm going to learn a lot just by watching him and the things he does behind that wheel.
Okay, well, we've been talking all race long about who could potentially get the victory, and it is time now to go ahead and make our selections for the race picks. And Phil, you get to do the honors first. What do you think?
Oh, we just talked about the guy, Donnie Schatz. I mean, I never dreamed earlier this week that we could come to this racetrack and a dirt ringer I would think would be a potential winner. But I think Donnie Schatz is the guy that's going to do it.
You took my pick.
Well,
I love
Schatz. I can't wait to watch him.
He gets stingy about the picks.
I think the one guy that I got to look at is Matt Crafton. I talked about him at the top of the show. Out of our regulars, he has probably the most dirt experience recently. Driving that modified, I think he's going to be good.
All right, my pick, I'm going with Haley Deegan. I think she gets it done. She's been strong on the dirt. I think the young lady is victorious out there in Iowa today. It's going to be interesting for Todd, Phil, and myself. That does it here on race day. 2 races to go in the regular season. We're going dirt racing out in Knoxville, Iowa. The race coverage, it starts right now.
Over halfway through the season, and we're ready for some more mudslinging.
So much anticipation. We don't know what the track's going to do. These guys are going to be kicking these trucks sideways.
This time, the sprint car capital of the world welcomes NASCAR for the very first time.
You preach destruction, my blade is sharpened. You better watch out, 'cause my gun runs deep. Because
These truckers are no stranger to dirt, but Knoxville comes with its own reputation. This is the Camping World Truck Series at Knoxville Raceway.
It's NASCAR in Knoxville for the first time ever. Iowa's Knoxville Raceway hosts NASCAR. The Camping World Truck Series is back on the dirt for the Corn Belt 150, presented by Blue Emu. It's been an eventful couple of days for series point leader John Hunter Nemechek. Crashed in practice yesterday. He'll start from the back of the field tonight. Will it be worst to first for Nemechek? It's a big night for Nemechek's teammate Chandler Smith. He sits on the playoff bubble with only 2 regular season races remaining. Smith must avoid disaster, and that's no easy task on the dirt. Will this be the night Haley Deegan scores her first win? The California teenager has been fast, and her comfort level is high. If she's to make the playoffs, Deegan must win. Few drivers have had more Knoxville success than Donnie Schatz, but the 10-time champ isn't in a 410 sprint car tonight. He's in a truck. Not his regular ride, but can he create the familiar Knoxville magic? Cup, Xfinity, dirt ringers, and the full-time truckers, and a whole bunch of excited race fans and excited broadcasters as well. All the stars in Knoxville, Iowa, getting ready for the Corn Belt 150. Let's go trackside and get the command.
And with the call for the command, the president of the Marion County Fair Association, Jason Reed.
Drivers, start your engines!
So glad to have Kevin Swindell in the booth with us, the 4-time Chili Bowl Nationals winner. Of course, he's taken that 410 sprint car to victory lane in Knoxville as well, part of the legendary Swindell family and his father, Sammy. And, of course, he even won the World of Outlaw iRacing Invitational at Knoxville and here on FS1. So glad to have Kevin with us tonight. And, of course, the 2-time Daytona 500 winner, Michael Waltrip, as well. And, guys, Mike, we've been looking forward to this one for a long time. We don't get too many firsts at our age, but so happy and excited that NASCAR is in Knoxville tonight.
Yeah, Vince, with that command, we're getting this party started, and it is a party when you come to Knoxville. These sprint car fans, this is sprint car country, but they've embraced NASCAR. So much looking forward to watching our truckers kick up some dirt. And what will this race bring us? So many unanswered questions. What will the track do? That's why we brought Kevin along, to find out a little insight into all the different scenarios that we're going to be focused on tonight. But remember, it's unique. It's a dirt race, right? But there's a playoff berth spot at stake here as well. So many things to race for tonight. I can't wait to watch these 150 laps. It's the Corn Belt 150. What's cooler than that?
Well, and Kevin, we saw the track during practice last night. It really changed over the course of that 90 minutes, and we'll see some of the highlights or lowlights from that practice and maybe what we can expect tonight from it. Something similar or not?
I hope so. It's that it's going to be different tonight for sure. You know, yesterday it got pretty dry pretty quick, and a lot of guys were really pushing the issue to see what they could do, and that top of the racetrack just didn't hold them. And you know, luckily so far tonight, those guys have been able to get up there and you know, really find some moisture and some grip. So you look to see a better racetrack today for sure, and it looks like they've given it to us.
Taking care of business downstairs in the garage area, a pair of Jamies, Jamie Little and Jamie Howe. We'll begin with Jamie Howe.
Vince, for the first time in a long time, Matt Crafton told his team, led by his crew chief, Junior Joyner, that the changes that they're making are working. At the end of practice, they ended second fastest. They qualified ninth. And now that they know they have a truck that they can race with, their attention shifts to first, staying patient. Second, staying ahead of the racetrack. Now, both of those are way easier said than done, especially on dirt. But consider the fact that Matt Crafton is one of only 3 drivers entered in the field tonight who's ever won a race in a truck on the dirt. I would not count him out, Jamie Little.
Well, Jamie, John Hunter Nemechek has certainly seen better practice days. On Thursday, they were working to make that truck better. And with 5 minutes to go in practice, boom, a big hit into the outside wall. Here's a look back at what happened. Once he got in, they looked at the truck. I talked to his crew chief, Eric Phillips, and he said, our truck that's in the backup position, that is way too good to try to repair this. So he's in the back now, in that backup truck. They have full confidence in it. But now on the flip side, it was 19-year-old Chandler Smith. It was a perfect day, and that was a word that he used. His truck did everything he wanted, great adjustments on it. This is a guy who's sitting just on that bubble for the playoff. He needs a good run here tonight. Vince Welch.
Well, the Kyle Busch Motorsports camp has been extremely strong this season. They've won 8 of the 13 races. You mentioned John Hunter and Chandler Smith. They'll have Brian Brown, who has had great Knoxville success through the years in the sprint car. He'll be in the 51 truck tonight, so it'll be interesting to keep an eye on that 51 camp and the Kyle Busch Motorsports group tonight. How about this half mile, Michael?
Oh, it's iconic, Vince. You can see the turns are banked at 8 degrees. There's black Iowa soil. We're going to dig deeper into that with Kevin as he explains to us what this dirt will do. You can see the width of the turn, 70 feet, and I promise you they're going to be trying to use 80 feet of that dirt in the corners.
Our race analysis tonight, there will be 3 stages, and they are 40 laps, 50 laps, and then the final stage will be 60 laps, total of 150 laps. And of course, it's the 9th time that the Camping World Truck Series has raced on dirt, having done so at Eldora and Bristol. See the starting lineup. 40 trucks will get the green flag tonight, and I mentioned earlier, guys from the Cup Series like Chase Briscoe, from the Xfinity Series, Brett Moffitt, You got the dirt ringers like a Brian Brown or a Donnie Schatz, and of course the regular truckers. I don't know how you pick a favorite tonight.
And you go all the way through the starting lineup, Vince, and there's guys that can win from deep in the field. Jessica Friesen, an accomplished dirt racer. Tanner Gray knows how to get it done as well. I'm looking so much forward to tonight because I just can't pick a favorite. We heard Todd Bodine and Bill Parsons pick a couple guys. I got to tell you, this is a wide open field tonight.
Kevin, do you have one that has caught your eye through practice last night and what we saw in the qualifying races tonight?
I thought Kraus looked really good, and you know, coming through the field, as well as Gilliland, who drove by several you know, trucks to get up there. So, you know, those two obviously from the front are going to be tough. And then you know, you got to look back at some of the guys who have run a lot of dirt races like Schatz, and those who are going to know how to chase the racetrack, but you know, got to figure out how to get through this long race and get up through there without beating anything up.
Before we go green, let's check in downstairs again. Begin with Jamie Little.
Well, Vince, you talked about the 51. And Brian Brown, sprint car champion, knows this place with his eyes closed, but he doesn't know about NASCAR and driving a truck here. Had never even sat in this truck until yesterday, right before practice. He's done zero simulation, but he got out of that truck after practice with the biggest smile on his face and said, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I'm going to make the most of it. Keep your eye on that 51. Jamie Howe?
Jamie, he may own 300 World of Outlaw wins and be a 10-time Knoxville Nationals champion, but this is Donnie Schatz's first attempt at a Camping World Truck Series race, and he lines up back in 22nd. He said, honestly, I'm not sure what it's going to take to move up. He's never used a spotter. He's never worked with the DGR team, but he does have dirt track instincts. He said he's enjoying this experience, and his warm welcome that he has received. I wouldn't count Donnie out either.
Never count out Donnie Schatz, and I love that onboard perspective and right back into the eyes of Schatz in his workspace tonight. And also with an onboard is Haley Deegan, or there's another view from the Donnie Schatz onboard, and there's Haley.
See her Monster Energy helmet there and that visor cam. That's a fun view, Kevin. When you get to ride on top of the driver's helmet, it really gives you that feeling that you're behind the wheel yourself.
Absolutely, and it looks like she got her smaller steering wheel she was asking for yesterday. So you know, maybe that was some of the extra comfort level that got her through that heat race earlier.
Yeah, she was really competitive in that heat race. And a smaller steering wheel just simply means you have to make less effort. You turn the wheel a little bit less and get the same response out of the tires. These drivers, you talked about Blue Emu, you'll feel better and you won't stink. Well, they're going to need Blue Emu after this race because they're going to be working those arms and feet.
Mentioned a moment ago the final two races of the regular season. Only 10 make the playoffs, so this is a big night tonight with our regular season finale August 7th at Watkins Glen on the road course. So got a dirt race and a road course race in the last two, certainly creating some unique challenges. John Hunter Nemechek can clinch the regular season title tonight. Zane Smith, Matt Crafton can probably clinch playoff spots tonight if they have good runs. So there's a lot at stake. And of course, maybe somebody jumps up and grabs a win and ends up securing their place in the championship run. Always love to see the four wide.
Yeah, this is something that you know, is really cool, and it happens you know, pretty much every night across the country on a lot of dirt series. So you know, it's not quite complete without a good Johnny Gibson four wide announcement, but this is pretty good.
Yeah, you can see the sprint car fans are loving this salute to sprint car country from NASCAR. A lot of fun. You talk about that playoff picture, Vince. Kraus and Ingram right up front. They both have to win. They know that, and they're starting in a pretty good spot to do so.
Been racing at Knoxville Raceway since 1901. This track originally built back in the late 1800s and was a horse track. And they started racing automobiles in 1901. They've had weekly racing here since 1954. Of course, the Knoxville Nationals, it's famous for the Knoxville Nationals. Been running that event since 1961. There is so much history here, most of it of the sprint car variety, and this is no question about it, sprint car country. But their fans love racing of all types, and it's a special night to have NASCAR here for the very first time.
Dirt racers in the country is Kenny Schrader, and he said it was really a special night back in 1901 when they ran that first time here.
He started on the pole that night, didn't he?
I think he might have. But I'm telling you, there are dirt racers all over the country that are tuned in to see how these NASCAR trucks tackle this great Knoxville Raceway.
And you see some of the history here, and the most feature wins at Knoxville, Danny Lasowski at 112. His nephew is Brian Brown, and Brian is in the 51 truck for Kyle Busch Motorsports tonight. Brown is 5th on that all-time wins list here at Knoxville with 53.
I think Schatz has got a pretty good chance of catching Steve for the total Knoxville Nationals wins. Only 2 back, and I think he's got a few years left in him.
Yes, he does. I would agree with that. There's a good look at the truck that Brian Brown is piloting for KBM tonight. Kyle Busch Motorsports has won 8 of the 13, and of course the last time we raced on dirt was at Bristol, and Martin Truex Jr. drove that 51 to victory lane. Jamie Howe on a little family affair with the Friesens.
That's Stuart Friesen in the number 52, his wife Jessica behind the wheel of the number 62. Both of them just really excited about this opportunity. They've been waiting to be able to race together, but Jessica has hardly any experience in the truck. She's been leaning on Stuart for some advice on that, whereas Stuart had no experience here at Knoxville. He leaned on Jessica for that. Neither one of them were happy with their truck yesterday, still struggling with getting some speed during qualifying today, so they're not really sure what they have to race with. They know they've got the trucks as close as they can with the parts that they have available. But either way, they said this is just going to be a fun night.
It is. In fact, it's the first time a husband and wife have started one of the major NASCAR series races since 1998. Elton Sawyer and Patty Moyse started in it then. Busch Series race back in the day, if you will. As you see John Hunter Nemechek in the 4. Chris Windom has jumped in the 02 just prior to the qualifying races. So because Nemechek went to a backup and the driver changed in the 02, they will start at the rear of the field tonight.
And watch for them to be heading toward the front.
Pace truck is off. Derek Kraus in that 19 truck chose the inside lane, and he's on pole for the 2nd time in his Camping World Truck Series career. We're racing the trucks at Knoxville. Try to grab those spots right out of the gate. Kraus secures the lead. Sauter working the top.
Nice run through 3 and 4 for Johnny Sauter. He's able to make some ground up there. It's interesting to see early on, Vince, who goes low, who goes high, and what works the best.
I think your instance, your patience guys say, I'm going to stay on the bottom, but you know, the way Sauter's moving already, it's going to be tough to stay down there. I'm sure they're going to be telling Kraus to get up there and go right away. So some great work they did on the track between races here.
How about Sauter for the lead, challenging Derek Kraus. Jamie.
Johnny really beat himself up after qualifying. He did not go to the high side to get that extra speed that everybody else did. His spotter, David Pepper, said, I'll be a little more aggressive with you tonight. And his crew chief, Joe Shear Jr., jumped in. He said, no, Johnny, that is your job as the driver. You're the one that picks the lane. You've got to feel that stuff and see it. Johnny took that to heart. Now he's got the lead of this race.
Well, the dirt, and Johnny will be the first to tell you, the dirt is not in his wheelhouse. That's not his comfort level, but he is up against it because he's on the outside looking in regards to the playoff picture, and Sauter desperately needs a win. Boy, how big it would be if he could get it tonight. There's his teammate at Thorsport in that neon yellow 88. That's Matt Crafton on the move inside the top 10.
Looking inside of Sheldon Creed there. Crafton ran the high side and quickly went to the bottom when he made that ground on Creed. Is he going to make that pass? No, Creed gets it back on the outside.
You can see where they worked just on the top of the racetrack, and they didn't really help the bottom. And you know, I think that was a good idea to make better racing, because if you get on the bottom, it's not as exciting, not much fun. You can still race when it's just the top here, and that's what we're getting right now. And Haley getting banged around a little bit right off the bat here.
Wow, out of shape in a big way as Sheldon Creed went by, made a little contact. There's Parker Price Miller in the 3 truck for Jordan Anderson, making his Truck Series debut. Kyle Strickler in the 20.
Watch Haley. She gets sideways a little high off turn 4 and hits the wall and then bounces into Creed. That truck looks like it's got about 150 laps on it already after that little run off turn 4.
Well, if you look, there's, you know, a point where the dirt goes from packed in a darker color to that really dark color where turns kind of fluffy, and as soon as you get your right front over that little edge and into that kind of fluffy crumb, there's just no more grip there. And I think once she got her right front over it, it just wouldn't turn, and off it went.
But I'm telling you, Kevin, you'll agree, I'm sure, if you're a Haley Deegan fan, she can still win this race. You bounce off things in dirt racing and still can get it done.
Yeah, the aero's definitely not going to make much difference here. As long as she didn't knock the toe out of that thing or something, I think she'll be fine.
Early in this race, for sure, a lot of racing left, just 8 laps in, and Johnny Sauter is out front. That's right, you don't adjust your set. Johnny Sauter is first dirt laps led ever in his career.
I think his best finish ever is 8th. Like, this is not where Johnny Sauter is most comfortable. And Derek Kraus has been very comfortable since we got to Iowa. A lot of speed in the 19 Napa truck. He's trying to take care of Sauter here as Carson Hocevar looks on.
I think we talk a lot about how these guys aren't good on dirt, but you give a racing driver grip and show him where to get it, he can get it every lap a lot of the time. So I think that's what happened with Sauter, is he found that sweet spot, and he's using it.
Saw some of that right side damage on the 2 truck of Sheldon Creed after that contact with Haley Deegan. What's the story on the 2, Jamie Little?
Yeah, that wasn't the first damage of the weekend. Yesterday in practice, Sheldon Creed, another one of those that got into the fence. He told me this truck was pretty much wrecked. They had right front suspension damage. You see it all bashed in there. That's also from yesterday. And he said, we just thought that this was better than the backup. But after this race, they're going to junk it. So they've made some good adjustments to make this truck drivable as he's well into the top 10. And meanwhile, the one of Haley Deegan, she says she's just fighting a tight truck right now. Got into the fence. Some right rear quarter panel damage early.
Well, and you saw on the left-hand side of the screen during Jamie's report, the 42 of Carson Hocevar from Nice Motorsports, getting by Johnny Sauter, new leader. Hocevar, the teenager.
And there comes Todd Gillen up to second. Gillen in the wall in practice and now running for the lead in the race.
18-year-old Carson Hocevar out front, racing on the dirt for the 9th time in NASCAR Truck Series history. Tonight, we're at Knoxville. Back in Knoxville, Iowa. The Corn Belt 150 brought to you by Blue Emu. The NASCAR Truck Series here on FS1, and we are under caution. Johnny Sauter went around with a little help from the 04 of Chase Briscoe.
Briscoe just bent his fender up just a little bit and couldn't complete the pass. And guess what happens next, Vince?
Do you think Chase said, oh, I didn't get you the first time, let me come back and try again?
That's just dirt racing. I mean, Johnny was just right on the edge of the groove, and Chase ran into it.
Man, I'll tell you what, he almost collected his teammate Matt Crafton there as well. That could have been.
Watch the job Crafton does, just barely getting to the outside of his teammate.
Keeping an eye on Sauter because, hey, this is early. He can come from the back, although this is, we mentioned earlier, the dirt racing, not Sauter's strength, but he has to go to the tail now and make his way back through, but we got a long way to go in this one, just 18 laps into this first stage.
Yeah, John Hunter Nemechek, Vince, he started in the back and he's up to 25th, so just in 15 laps he was able to pick up 15 spots. So nice roll early for John Hunter in the 4.
Yep. We mentioned if you just joined us, John Hunter had to start at the back because he went to a backup truck after a late practice accident destroyed the primary last night. They got about 90 minutes of practice last night, and then qualifying races here this afternoon set the stage and the lineup for tonight's race. You look at the all-time winners. We mentioned Danny Lasowski. Man, that guy could get it. Oh, Doug Wolfgang, 60 wins here at Knoxville. Terry McCarl. The King, Steve Kinzer, with 57. And Brian Brown, 53 wins. And he is in the 51 truck for Rowdy Kyle Busch tonight.
Looks like he's made some friends there on the left rear.
Track champ here at Knoxville as well. The Knoxville Nationals coming up next month, and of course that's a huge event in the sprint car world. If you're not a fan of the sprint car racing, certainly encourage you to take a peek at the Knoxville Nationals. It is some kind of show. And I think the fans, that's one of the great things about NASCAR coming to Knoxville, is that some of the fans that maybe not as familiar with NASCAR racing, who, you know, they are tried and true sprint car fans, they're getting a taste of NASCAR for the very first time. And ultimately, those fans will cross over and makes it fun for everybody.
You know what I love, Kevin, is you look up front, it looks pretty calm. Look at this mess in the back. I mean, they're going to be 3 and 4 wide, dirt flying every which way. I mean, this is so challenging to be in a position where back here where Donnie shines and some of these drivers are going to restart.
It looks like a mess, but it looks like a lot of fun.
It does look like both, a mess and fun. If you're able to knife through that field, nothing feels much better.
Hocevar up top. Jumping out to the front.
See here if the pace laps had any effect on how that the grip up top works. Is sometimes you can get up there and pack it down and kind of kill it a little bit.
Notice the trucks, some of them were running really high under the caution. Is that what they're trying to accomplish? Pat that outside down a bit?
Yeah, sometimes I think, you know, that edge that Haley got over earlier, you can kind of get up there and squish it down, and that was something the trucks didn't pack in, you know, while we were on break. And I think it was intentional to try to get something for the dirt to kind of pile up against and not just, you know, fade to the fence. But it also brings a challenge for these guys to, if you get over, you get in trouble.
Speaking of challenge, Todd Gilliland challenging Carson Hocevar for the lead. Took it. Hocevar bounced back, and now Gilliland secures the top spot. Todd Gilliland, they have really been running well lately.
You know, I was so impressed, Vince, with him and Coda down there on that slick road course track. You really have to use your feet, Jamie, to get the job done, and he's getting it done here.
Yes, and he was one of the drivers who had problems in practice yesterday. Missed the whole second half after contact, so he also missed the opportunity to work with his spotter, Anthony Warren. It's their very first time working together, and in the first couple laps, he said to him, I'm going to need more heads up on these calls, or we're not going to make it to the end of this race. They're settling in, and they're getting more and more comfortable with the communication right now.
And, of course, he put Front Row Motorsports in victory lane at Circuit of the Americas. 17 to go in stage 1. Going to take a break, but you won't miss a thing. Going to keep it side by side from Knoxville.
Saturday is baseball night in America on Fox. And a star-studded AL showdown takes center stage.
Here we go.
Judge leads a loaded Bronx Bomber lineup.
Man, can he hit.
Against Altuve and the Astros, who continue their fight for the top spot in the game. Or an historic rivalry is renewed as Arenado and the Cardinals battle Bryant and the Cubs.
Are you kidding?
It's Baseball Night in America, Saturday at 7 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app.
So with your home and auto bundle, you'll save money and get round-the-clock protection.
Sounds great.
Sure does.
Shouldn't something, you know, wacky be happening right now?
We thought people could use a break. We've all been through a lot this year.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So...
Now's not a good time, 3/5 of it in sync.
Are you sure? You have us booked all day? Read the room, guys.
Yeah.
Right?
There's an America we build and one we explore. One that's been paved and one that's forever wild. But freedom means you don't have to choose just one adventure. You get both. Introducing the wildly civilized, all-new 3-row Jeep Grand Cherokee L.
I am a playground where kids of all ages are welcome, where everyone can come together and simply enjoy the passion, the spectacle, the speed, and the sound.
This could be for the win right here.
I'm where we're all reminded why we fell in love with this sport to begin with, and why it's like nothing else in the world. Experience a NASCAR race this summer. Get your tickets at NASCAR.com/tickets.
NASCAR at Knoxville, the Camping World Truck Series. Todd Gilliland and Carson Hocevar snug at the front. The teenager Hocevar, 18 years old, from Michigan, chasing Todd Gilliland. Here's Chase Briscoe in the 04 and Matt Crafton in the 88.
It just looks like so much more work up there where Ty Gilliland's running, isn't it? Like Crafton just hugging that bottom, but Briscoe hanging it out.
He is out, and if that was Parker Price Miller that had a problem.
I think so. The left side was tore off that thing, Vince. Is he going to tell Donnie Schatz he's not happy?
Or Brian Brown, yeah, there's
Excuse me. Brian Brown.
Above that left rear wheel of Miller had some heavy damage on that 3. Now it was the 51 that got around. Chase Purdy in the 23 maybe helped him a bit.
Oh, and look.
Oh, and that's where Parker Price Miller, I think, suffered the damage.
Did he jump up over the curb?
He got held.
Oh, and Jake Griffin, nice job slipping to the outside.
Watch it from Haley Deegan's on board.
I like that move. She got on the gas a little bit and said, I better get on through here.
It's a little different than drive through the smoke, more drive through the dust.
So Brown doesn't look any worse for the wear. Got a little left rear damage, but he'll be able to continue on, thankfully. Under 10 to go here in stage 1. All 4 of the leaders we've had today have never led on the dirt before. Hocevar, Gilliland, Sauter, and Kraus. It's been that kind of night. As seen some good shuffling on these restarts, especially. In fact, Josh Berry went from 5th or from 13th to 5th on that last restart.
John Hunter Nemechek is our biggest mover. We knew he would be coming through the field bench. You can see he's picked up 20 spots. Chris Windham with 12, getting his experience behind the wheel of the 02. Hadn't driven that truck until this afternoon.
I mean, it was less than an hour before the qualifying race for Windham, and he still wasn't at the track yet. And he arrived late, and you still see it says Michael, or it says Annette above the window net there. And in fact, Annette on the back windshield, and Windham is wearing Michael Annette's driver's suit. It was a late change, to say the least. And Windham jumped in that truck and ran the qualifying race, and he is on the move here tonight. Jamie Howe.
He was in the second qualifying race right before the first one. He hopped into the truck. The only change that he made to the cockpit setup was that he raised the steering wheel just a little bit. You mentioned he's wearing the same driver suit as Michael Annette. He also was about an hour and a half away when they got the phone call. He made it here in less time than that. So this is actually his second race of the day, Jamie Little.
And you guys mentioned John Hunter Nemechek, biggest mover so far, started in the back. They basically said tonight there's no such thing as pit strategy. We're going to have modified live pit stops, so there's nothing to be gained. They'll come in, they'll stop, they'll make their adjustments and change their tires. So they had to base it off of speed and talent, and that's exactly what they're doing. And obviously Eric Phillips knew what he was talking about, saying how good this backup truck was.
Well, that's for sure. Eric Phillips, the winningest crew chief in Truck Series history. And what a pairing it is with John Hunter. They are related. Eric is John's uncle. You know, we saw that 02 that Windham is in, and a familiar scheme there with the TMC that your dad drove.
Yeah, those were pretty cars, and a lot of polish went into those things back then, and it rubbed off on my childhood a lot as well, of having to do a lot of that on mine. The standard was set early in life that I had to stick to.
That's a beautiful sprint car and a nice tribute to your dad and to Harold Annette, owner of that Michael Annette stat.
How about Hocevar and Gilliland, Jamie?
Gilliland has asked the team, where is he better than me? Where am I losing? They told him that he's turning out more than you. He said, your driving is better, but he's beating you through the corner. But as for Carson Hocevar, he said that he needs more left rear drive, and he's done some more security underneath him. So he's really said he's just taking it easy.
More security. They'll be asking for that all night long, that's for sure.
5 laps to go in this stage and get back to racing. It'll be a mad dash to hold on to their track position. Every lap that goes by, this is a long race in dirt race standards, but it's going to be short for these truckers. You've got to get it done in a hurry. We've seen that from John Hunter hustling through the field like he's done, along with the 02 truck. Chris Wyndham has made a nice move as well.
Be interesting to see how much the outside is at a disadvantage here through 1 and 2. I think they'll take off well here, but see how much the bottom's actually winning.
4 to go as they cross the line here in stage 1. Gilliland in the 38, Carson Hocevar in the 42. The bottom line moving.
Whoa, and Hocevar nearly into the wall there off 2.
Derek Kraus in the 19, Josh Berry the 25 as they hug the bottom.
Wow.
I'm surprised he went back to the top.
Me too. Kraus made it work on the bottom.
And Kraus, just as he takes the lead, Jessica Friesen goes around, and the caution has come back out. Jessica Friesen making her Truck Series debut here tonight. The wife of Stuart Friesen, regular in the Camping World Truck Series, and identical Halmar truck here tonight. Jessica driving the 62, Stuart the 52.
A little damage there to the left front. She gets rolling.
Gotta wonder if that was berm or truck damage.
Get an idea right here.
Oh, little truck damage, as you called it there, Kevin. Twice.
What's the story there, Jamie?
Well, she's talking to the team right now, but she said that on that restart, she could not get it out of second gear. When she did finally get it turned around and get back at the tail end of the pack, she said it's still stuck in second gear. They're trying to talk her through getting it restarted in third gear, but right now she does not have the drive that she needs.
Well, they're going to get an opportunity to work on it. Pit stops coming here at the end of stage 1, and this caution will bring us to the end of the first stage with Derek Kraus, your stage 1 winner. Wow. Camping World Truck Series racing on FS1 from Knoxville, Iowa. We're going to see pit stops here at the end of stage 1. That stage ended under caution because of the Jessica Friesen spin. Derek Kraus, that 19 truck, was your stage 1 winner. Second stage win of the season for Kraus.
Curious what do you think? Tires, maybe. You know, this track's a bit abrasive, and you can see they're pulling some out there. Be interesting to see if we all just take tires at both stage breaks.
Yeah, I would assume you're probably going to push the issue of, you know, probably what, 15 laps of pretty abrasive there, and then coming back and you got to go 50 more here most likely in it. So,
well, the caution flag lap certainly helped the tire wear, but this caution flag's not helping Tate Fogelman. He's got a little bit of an overheating issue there. Get into the pits and work on that.
These are controlled pit stops, so there will be no positions gained or lost on pit road, and change tires and fuel only at the stage breaks. Jamie Little.
And the youngster Derek Kraus in his pit box. Remember, these are just the mechanics that are here at the track working on their trucks that will make the service changes. They'll take tires. You see them in hand there. Of course, bias ply tires look very different than what we usually run in the truck series. But Derek telling his team after he led early on, started on the pole for the second time in just a few races, said the whole truck needs to be in the track better. And they said, hey, this track is changing. Just hang in there and see what happens. And of course, it came around to him and he took the lead once again. Now on the front side is the 2 in the number 1 spot right there, the number 2 of Sheldon Creed. He had his hands full as well. They want some adjustments on this truck. He's just trying to figure it out. It has speed, but super tight. So they're going to make a spring rubber adjustment in the left rear. And of course, all the teams right now, Jamie, waiting to get the call, and they get the call to go over and make those adjustments.
And it's very calm, calculated work here. We're going to start off with the number 42 of Carson Hocevar. He was saying all weekend that he was excited about this race and this experience. At the end of the first stage, though, the only thing that he said to his team was, well, at least we got some stage points. So they're going to work on that truck a little bit as they take on the 4 tires that they're allowed to take only at these breaks here. And then for the 38 of Todd Gilliland, we saw him lead some laps. He said that he's going to have to be super disciplined on the bottom. They're going to have to take care of the tires. They didn't run very many laps during the practice session, but they did chew up those tires. You can see the damage still on the front of that truck. They had to repair it a little bit after qualifying also because the repair work that they did yesterday didn't hold up. Some of that tape's going to have to come off there. Overall, these teams, though, they did watch them practice making these changes in practice yesterday just to be ready for this little bit of a challenge, but they have plenty of time. There's no hurry. There's no rush. That was the whole point of NASCAR doing this, was the teams didn't have to worry about it. I just heard they still have 2 minutes to get these changes executed, Vince.
Yeah, so plenty of time to get the work done. Thank you, Jamie. Jamie Squared down on pit road. Jamie Howe and Jamie Little. Plenty of work, plenty of time to get the work done, and there are drivers and teams that really feel a need to make some significant changes, and they get an opportunity to do that. It was interesting, of all those that came to pit road, Mike, Donnie Schatz wasn't one of them. He stayed out.
Stayed on the racetrack, and if you stay on the racetrack, you move up. You just don't get those tires, so it'd be interesting to see what kind of strategy he's pulling off here. Let's see if we can get a word with Donnie Schatz. Hey, Donnie, it's Michael Waltrip and the Fox boys. Do you copy?
Yeah, 10-4. Feels way more spotty and more clean.
Snotty. It's not good, or is it good? I don't know. I think he was talking to his crew.
That's slimy.
See if I can get a word with Donnie again.
Yep, talking to crew chief Chad
The lap
Johnston.
times similar to what they were last night, or are they slower?
Donnie's.
Yeah, fast is a 24 or a 23.86 looks like. We were in a 24.12 as our fast lap. So tires off the one look just like brand new almost. So.
Oh, that's what they're wanting to know too. Yep. You know what the other tires look like when they took them off, and that's crew chief Chad Johnston.
The body didn't look in very good shape when I went by. Well, this will either be a hero or a zero here. So.
Well, we were gonna.
Pretty important.
We were going to talk to them about their strategy, and we heard everything there. The tire wear, tire wear's fine. Going to be a hero or zero.
I'm not going to say we didn't need you at all there, Mike, in that conversation, but thank you, Chad Johnston and Donnie Schatz. Looking forward to this Tuesday night. Judge, Tatis, Ohtani, and the rest of baseball's finest squaring off in the mile-high Midsummer Slugfest. It's from Coors Field in Denver, the 2021 Major League Baseball All-Star Game. It's presented by MasterCard, and you'll see it Tuesday on Fox.
They can hit it further in the Mile High City.
Long way.
Long ball.
Oh, how about this shot? Absolutely beautiful. Knoxville Raceway here in Knoxville, Iowa. Stage 1 has been completed, and Jamie Little, they were changing tires down there. How they look?
Yes, they were. This is something that the drivers certainly were concerned about today, just tire wear tonight. So this is the set that just came off of Sheldon Creed's. This is the right front right here. See, it's not too bad. The wear looks pretty darn good. This is the right rear. But we're going to keep an eye on this, Vince, because they said the first stage, not a huge concern. Second stage, maybe, but it's the last stage of the race, the second half, where they're really concerned about tire wear. They only have one more set sitting down here.
Certainly going to be something to keep an eye on, as you said, Jamie, as this race progresses and the surface of the track changes.
Yeah, I think, you know, with like shots there, I feel like they can make this next stage without killing these because of how long they made it the first stage without really having to run, you know, down in the abrasive of the rubber. And, you know, if you can do that, I feel like everybody's got to come get him. So if he's got track position, it's going to be, you know, great. But, you know, definitely seeing the transition away from the top of the racetrack. And, you know, now it's starting to lock down a little bit down there. And most likely see everybody down around the bottom from here on out, I would say.
Certainly going to have to root and gouge your way past those in front of you. And for some, it is critical that they have a good showing after so many struggled on the dirt at Bristol. And these are the 4 drivers right around that playoff cut line, Mike.
You know, Vince, if they could just take that one race away, they'd be inside of the playoffs. Look at those terrible finishes, and they had good runs going, just got involved in in wrecks, but looking to recover here on the dirt in Iowa. But you can tell, not a great outing the last time we were on dirt. Speaking of a great outing, what about Josh Berry? He didn't have much dirt experience, and he's right up front. Has a great truck and has done a great job tonight.
You see where the playoff standings currently sit in regards to the top 10 making the show or making the playoffs, the run for the championship. And Tyler Ankrum and Derek Kraus currently sit 11th, 12th. Johnny Sauter came into this race in 11th position. He has dropped after getting spun early tonight and having to go to the tail.
Looks like we're going to go racing again.
One to go sign.
That playoff bubble, that's tight, Vince. You slip one time and you find yourself on the outside looking in.
This is the next to the last regular season race, the regular season finale at Watkins Glen on August 7th. And then the first playoff race will be August 20th at Worldwide Technology.
Talking about Josh Berry's inexperience, his spotter was texting me the other day going, what do you think on iRacing would relate the best to a truck at Knoxville? I said, man, just get anything and make the racetrack slick and try to figure out how to control it, and that's the best I can tell you.
Well, he's done a nice job. Good direction from you, Kevin, because he has been on it since he got to Iowa.
With Michael Waltrip, Kevin Swindell, I'm Vince Welch, Jamie Howe, Jamie Little on pit road, and this is stage 2 for the Camping World Truck Series at Knoxville.
I think Donnie was nervous to go through the gears leading right there.
I bet he was, and he's got some real company on both sides of him now. He might be more nervous 3 wide into 3.
Gilliland in the 38, Kraus in the 19, and they squeezed out Donnie Schatz just like that.
You think that's a product of fresh tires, Kevin?
You would have to think it was. You know, it may have been one bad corner, and now he's just kind of trapped out in no man's land here. And, you know, it may very well be just that, you know, those old tires just didn't grab like these guys did.
And nobody has mercy for you. It doesn't matter how many times he's won at Knoxville. They see a guy struggling a bit, and everyone's going to try to take advantage. And, man, he is dropping.
Because some of those guys are going to say, hey, did you see me pass Donnie Schatz at Knoxville?
Not many people can say that, Vince.
No, we went a few years of going, like, I think people were proud of the fact that they could say that they actually passed him or, you know, maybe held him off for a lap or two. I think I was even one year, and, you know, that was something I almost touted about.
You see who's creeping into the picture as well. And that 52 up high, Stuart Friesen starting to really make some progress from the back of the pack. Everybody else is pinned on the bottom. Stewart's trying to make it work up top.
Todd Gilliland leads. Hocevar in second, and that's Josh Berry in third. There's the aforementioned Friesen in that 52 truck. He's lonesome up there.
It isn't working, is it?
Trying to run the rim.
Fun to watch, though.
It's probably one of those things that you can make it do okay when everybody's stuck together on the restart, but as soon as it gets single file like this, I think you just got to give up.
Got to appreciate the effort, but
yeah,
man. So,
I mean, he is kind of holding his ground slightly. Down here, it's a little bit better than his 1 and 2, but yeah, I think you're going to have to just give in.
Whoa. Carrying that left front tire.
That's pretty cool, actually.
It is fun to watch.
Yeah, you can definitely make some time at 3 and 4, and he's going to try to take the bottom back here. Didn't get down there, though.
Got clipped a little bit by Crafton and
just lost the back.
Early laps here in stage 2. Remember, this stage is 50 laps in length. More on Friesen with Jamie Howe.
And the top lane, as you were guessing, they're saying on the radios, is completely gone now. Their team was telling Stuart Friesen, though, that they needed to rotate the center better. They're trying to coach him through it, saying he was scrubbing off too much speed in 1 and 2 and to open up the entry. But the track is changing so drastically right now as the sun is starting to set that the drivers are having to really just feel it out.
Well, we saw it last night, really kind of went through 3 different phases of racetrack during that 90-minute practice, and certainly it has made a big swing from what we saw at the start of this race tonight.
Josh Berry around Carson Hocevar for the second position. Todd Gilliland's driven away from this battle for second, but Berry with a nice move there.
Stacked up behind Berry and Hocevar, Sheldon Creed in the 2, Derek Kraus, our stage 1 winner there in that 19 truck, and the 37, Brett Moffitt in the second AM Racing truck. It's been a long time since we've seen AM Racing with 2 trucks in the race. Of course, Austin Wayne Self, the normal competitor in the 22, and they have Brett Moffitt from the state of Iowa in the 37 in their second truck here tonight.
Look at these guys, man. They are stacked up. And that just tells you how important getting to the bottom is. You can see Creed trying to squeeze Derek Kraus out of the way. Kraus wasn't having any of it in that 19 truck.
I'd say looking at times, going off of yesterday in practice, we probably still got almost another second to pick up on this racetrack. So, definitely going to keep getting wider in the rubber. And Shelton's still trying to make that 3 and 4 work. And I think 3 and 4 can keep up. You just give up a lot of time trying to do it down here.
Man, if you're an athlete, you love a home game. And Brett Moffitt from Grimes, Iowa, if he could go to Victory Lane in this truck in his home state, that would be a big accomplishment for that young man.
Well, and if you win here tonight, you get this trophy. It's the Corn Belt 150. The first one ever. Everybody wants that one.
Tucker Carlson Originals. Now, a brand new episode. As crime and chaos overtake our cities, Tucker Carlson is fighting for our right to survive.
Political leaders have become even more brazen about encouraging disorder. American citizens are forced to defend themselves. They have no choice.
Plus, go inside the shocking details of the great New Orleans gun grab.
Please, open the door.
Will history repeat itself?
Don't think it won't happen. It can happen.
Tucker Carlson Originals. New episode available now, only on Fox Nation.
The magic is back. It's our race, and the best fans in the world are New Englanders. NASCAR racing the way it's supposed to be. A fender-banging, no-holds-barred battle to the finish line.
They make contact. Kevin Harvick will win.
Make memories with family and friends in a safe environment. It's the 50th NASCAR Cup Series race at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. The Foxwoods Resort Casino 301 on July 18th. Visit NHMS.com.
Toyota, let's go places.
Blue Emu Super Strength Original Formula is now available in 3 convenient sizes. Whether you need relief at home, in your gym bag, or on the go. Blue Emu works fast and you won't stink. An official partner of MLB and NASCAR.
Saturday is baseball night in America on Fox. An AL showdown takes center stage. Aaron Judge leads the Yankees against Jose Altuve and the Astros. Or Nolan Arenado and the Cardinals battle Chris Bryant and the Cubs. Baseball night in America, Saturday, 7 Eastern on Fox and Fox Sports app.
I am bumping, banging, and battling to the finish. I am the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. I am NASCAR.
It's hard to get any ground gained up top, so there is a lot of rooting and gouging going on at the bottom as you look at Derek Kraus, and Kraus won stage 1, currently finds himself in 6th.
That's because Austin Hill was doing the rooting and the gouging, Vince. He's really got that truck hooked up. We saw it in the heat races earlier. He's really got that 16th truck hooked up on the bottom. He was able to root Kraus out of the way, brought Brett Moffitt along with him, and now closed right up on the back of Carson Hocevar for that 3rd spot. He looks like, to me, he's got the fastest truck, and he's really not afraid to use that bottom. Look at him, right up on the curb, or berm.
Hill clinched a playoff spot last week, or in our most recent race, I should say, and we're still waiting on him to win a race. He has not won yet this year, and we've certainly expected that. Wouldn't it be interesting if he ended up winning on the dirt, a place you really wouldn't expect Austin Hill to be a winner? But
I just know, Vince, we see him every week. He's just really good at working the bottom of the racetrack. Whether you're on a 1.5 miles or here on the dirt in Iowa, he just has a knack for making his truck stick low, and he is really fast right now.
He kind of looks like a guy who may have, gave up a bunch early in the night for, a truck that really worked once we got to this point.
Wow, that's so cool. That tells you how important that bottom is. Jumped right up on that berm and was able to hang on to that 25 truck, but Kraus was rooting and gouging again.
You might get some love back here if Barry gets back to him.
Yeah, that was for 5th. Everybody chasing Todd Gilliland, who is out front in that 38 truck and now into some lap traffic. Gilliland has led 36 laps tonight. That's the most laps he's led this season.
Right there, Josh Berry just said, I need the bottom, Derek, I'm sorry. But he cut it in a little bit too sharp and caught the berm, and up he went.
Now the berm, it's not quite as aggressive as you might see it in a sprint car race, but still, you don't want to get up on it.
No, it looks like, I mean, in spots it's low, and it looks like off the corners they really trimmed it down. And usually it's a lot more square when you know, when the sprint cars are there, and they've made it a lot more forgiving, where it seems like you can kind of use it to get up off the corner, up under a guy if you need to. And as you can see here, usually it's a lot more squared, stood up kind of directly like the tire, and they've definitely trimmed it back to make it a little more forgiving in case you get up there with the body.
Now, how about Donnie Schatz? Donnie stayed out during that first stage break when 38 trucks pitted. Everybody but Schatz and the 33 truck of Devin Rouse. And Donnie Schatz did not pit and said, well, we'll see how he reacts with no tires, or not having fresh tires. And he quickly dropped back to 15th as Jessica Friesen got around and then got pounded by the 44 of Morgan Alexander.
Man, both those trucks had struggles in practice getting spun around, and now they've come together. Unfortunate for Jess, but I'm telling you, Kevin, it's just hard to stop on dirt. Like, you committed to the corner, you can't just slam on the brakes. And obviously Alexander didn't know that she was there, and it looked like he just drove in there and hit her, but you just have very little control of that situation.
Yeah, most likely he was just, you know, up a lane out of the rubber, maybe with, you know, letting some of the lead lap cars go, and, you know, you're just up in that kind of dusty crumb right there above where the good grip is, and it really just takes off.
So Kraus gave a little help to Friesen. Yeah, and Alexander just couldn't get it wound up.
Nice job by Ben Rhodes. You can see he was squeezed in there. See there, the truck checked up ahead of him. He went up a little bit high just to maybe see what was ahead, and around it went.
Both Jessica Friesen and Alexander making their first series starts here tonight. Significant damage to both. What a beautiful shot, and what a beautiful night it is here in Knoxville, Iowa. Well, the weather forecast was not good when you woke up this morning, but it has turned into a beautiful evening, very cooperative, and we are thankful for it in the Camping World Truck Series racing here at Knoxville, presented by Blue Emu. Downstairs to Jamie Little.
Yeah, how about the 25 of Josh Berry? You guys touched on it. His first dirt race in a truck, still feeling it out. Just his 5th race this year as well. But he said the truck's just getting better. It's starting to come to him. He fires off loose, and now it's coming to him. You hear that so much, that they start loose and now they're getting tight. It's amazing how quickly this track is changing. Jamie.
Some funny audio that we heard between Donnie Schatz and his crew chief, Chad Johnson. They were talking, and this caution came on. They said, if you're the only person that does something, then it's probably wrong. So I'm going to take a guess and say that was probably the wrong choice to stay out after that first stage and not come in and take the tires. Donnie did say that he feels like the longer he runs, the better he feels like he's getting. He's definitely more comfortable now behind the wheel of that truck, but they are struggling with that tire well. I also want to update you on the number 62 of Stuart Friesen. It looked like a big hit. It sounded like a big hit, but they did bring her into pit lane, and they realized that there really wasn't that much damage for Jessica. They did put some bear bond on it, sent her back out. She's gone side to side, said it feels like it's okay, so they're going to work with it right now.
Yeah, she took a pretty big hit. You can see there, that's the hit-er.
Morgan Alexander.
The hit-E. Just touching base on Donnie Schatz. He fell back to 15th, Kevin, but he was able to maintain, actually picked up a couple of spots. I'm not so sure it was the lack of tires, just didn't get a great restart and got shuffled out into the middle.
Yeah, it just seemed like he maybe just, didn't get down where he needed to, especially off the corner and left that lane. And those guys, probably just had a little more forward drive on fresh tires and were able to, squeeze him out. And then it was just a matter of deciding, do you go all the way back up to that scary top or, try to squeeze in? And he was just never able to get in. But I mean, he was 11th at the stage break. He's only 13th now. So, I mean, I guess it wasn't a bad gamble.
Not at all. And he will get tires here in a bit. And he's learned a lot about how these truckers race. This could be a benefit to him even.
Chad Johnston, the crew chief, we had that radio, and he said, well, we're either going to be hero or zero. I'm not sure they were either one.
No, I think they're somewhere between, Vince.
I'm not quite sure what that is, but I tell you exactly what that is. That is 13th.
Hero would be leading the race. Zero would be crashed. So, lucky 13th. You can see just ahead of him, John Hunter Nemechek. These guys and girls sorting out the high lane that isn't sticking as well as the bottom right now. Will that change as the race goes on, Kevin, you think?
No, it probably won't get any better unless, we went out and really spent a little bit of time to work on it. I mean, it helps that they go up there and pack it in and kind of squish down that stuff they've thrown up off the bottom in the middle. And, it still might get back to that point where they can kind of keep up a corner here. And I'm sure some of these guys are going to sell out pretty hard for it. Just trying to maintain.
Back to green on this restart, and let's ride with Donnie's shots and see what it looks like.
3 wide, that's what it looks like to me, Vince.
Wow, tight.
He's in a good spot to come out way ahead here on the bottom if this cycles through. Austin Hill in big trouble up there on the top. Second to about 7th now, it looks like.
And look at Moffitt, he's getting squeezed by Barry. Can Josh get inside?
What happened to Austin Hill really is what happened to Schatz, isn't it? I mean, he just got squeezed out of that bottom line, and he fell back just like Donnie did, and that was Austin Hill who was started on the front row, and he just went behind Schatz.
I think he thought he could maybe just hang, and there probably was just never a spot to get down. And I don't think he'd do any good to run through the middle of the racetrack. So it's kind of your only opportunity is just to go for it.
Haley's getting squeezed by Stewart, and she's going to keep her foot in the gas. Wow, that's some good racing.
Back in 15th, 16th. Look at Deegan in the 1 and Friesen in the 52. That's Sheldon Creed right behind Haley.
It's interesting the way Haley was able to squeeze to the bottom of Stewart, trying to get that spot away, and Sheldon Creed was just as determined to get her spot as she was his.
It kind of bodes well for later that Stewart was able to hang for that long. As we go, that rubber will kind of ease out further into the racetrack, hopefully, and allow a guy to hang his left sides in it when he's racing with somebody. But for now, you definitely, it's going to be a fight for the bottom.
And cut right down there in front of the 51 of Brian Brown, and Zane Smith behind Brown in the 21. 14 to go here in stage 2.
Just behind them, there's Chase Briscoe. He's starting to inch his way forward, as is Chris Wyndham in the 02. They've got Brian Brown up off the bottom, Zane Smith inside, bringing Briscoe along with him.
Brown's sure to lose some spots if he can't get down as the train runs the berm.
Nobody's your friend either, Kevin. You get a guy stuck out there, you just laugh and say, I'm coming, buddy.
No teammates, no friends, just I need your spot.
Brown trying to bully his way down into the 40 of Truex. That didn't work. Now Parker Price Miller goes by in the 3, and Brown finally gets down in front of the 15 of Tanner Gray.
Look at Tanner. He's got the 45 of Jet Nolan all over him. Funny, it's about the opposite of Daytona and Talladega, but it looks a whole lot like it at times.
There's
way
the
you're
leader.
Squeezing around.
Todd Gilliland out front. Oh, and Haley Deegan.
There's a
really got. Yeah, hip checked is a good way. The Stanley Cup Finals just wrapped up, and it looked like a good hip check into the board.
And now she's stuck.
This is one of those really good times where if you could have talked your driver into just absolutely doing nothing the whole race, but just staying on the bottom and not making any silly mistakes, and hopefully getting down on the restarts. I mean, you could ease your way through here. I think like a few of these guys have, and have a good day without really having to work too hard.
Look at those two.
Yep.
Deegan and Sheldon Creed. Or no, excuse me, that's Danny Bone, the 30.
That was the hip check.
Yep. She definitely tried to protect down the front straightaway and try to scare him off maybe of letting her back in, but he wasn't going to have it.
Less than 10 to go here in stage 2. Look at Brian Brown.
Tire rub.
Major. Something going wrong.
12 right. Fogelman coming right up behind.
I think it's the right front, don't you, Kevin?
If I had to guess, I'd say it's probably that one.
What tipped you off there, Mike?
Just savvy, Vince. I've been
your experience.
Yeah, I've been doing this for a long time. Nothing really gets by me.
Kraus has one too, it looks like.
Wow. Challenging Gilliland for the lead.
I don't know if Kraus is from damage or if it's just traveling that far now that the pace picked up.
You know what Kraus is thinking? Not only winning Corn Belt 150 in Knoxville, but making the playoffs too. This is a solid effort for this team. Bill McAnally does a nice job with driver development. This is one of his students that's going to work to win this race.
I mean, he came into this race 55 points below the cut line, Mike, and he has already cut 27 off that tonight. I mean, and we got a long way to go yet, and tell you what, he may end up winning this thing.
That's great racing right there. He's really working over the back of that 38 truck of Todd Gilliland.
38's struggling to hold the bottom. Like, it's going to give the 19 a good opportunity to weasel his way up in there. If you can just get that left front or left rear fender, on your right front, you pretty much can own a guy the rest of the way through the corner if you just keep inching him out. You might have it right here.
It's happening right now. You're right. He took it away, and look right behind him. Here comes Carson Hocevar. He's got a fast truck as well.
It's funny, the 19 and the 42 looked dead in the water a little bit earlier, and it went backwards, and
there's Brown.
Now they woke up.
Bringing out the caution.
I think that might end the stage.
So Brian Brown, driving for Kyle Busch Motorsports in his Camping World Truck Series debut, has brought out the caution here near the end of stage 2. Derek Kraus, who won stage 1 and just taken the lead from Todd Gilliland. And as you see Brown going around to bring out the yellow, fortunate that others didn't get collected in that.
Usually the sprint car, when that happens, you can just light the tires up and spin it right around, and the truck wasn't quite as friendly to rotating around.
Finally gets her going.
So that's going to bring stage 2 to an end, and it's going to be a sweep for Derek Kraus for the first time in his young NASCAR career. Back in Knoxville, Iowa. Welcome back to Camping World Truck Series Racing here on FS1, and what a beautiful sight. High above this great racetrack, and you see the green checkers and the yellow officially signaling the end of stage 2, and Derek Kraus, your stage 2 winner. In fact, won stage 1 and stage 2.
Been about a dream trip to Iowa for Derek Kraus so far, hasn't it been?
You got that right. And he's one of those that, boy, if he won this race tonight, how that would turn upside down the playoff picture for some of those around the playoff cut line. Let's check in with Jamie Howe.
There's an interesting comment made by Grant Enfinger there in that number 98 truck during that last stage. He told his team that it feels a lot like Martinsville now, the racetrack does. He said he needed to open up a little more. Michael, you've raced at Martinsville. What does that mean?
Well, I've raced at Knoxville too, and what it means is that Grant's exactly right. And it even goes at Martinsville, you want to run right next to the curb, right? Well, this is a berm, but it's equivalent of a curb, and it's just a matter of just getting that left front right on that berm and holding it as low as you can go. But when you try to do that, Vince, and you don't have any speed, people will start rooting on you and gouging. And Derek Kraus was an example of doing that perfectly. He was able to stay right on Gilliland, work him, and then use that berm, the moisture that's down there, Kevin, to get that run off the corner. Sometimes at Martinsville, if you just get right next to that curb, there's so much more grip than if you're just a half a tire width off of it. And that's what we saw here tonight so far. Now, that's something you don't see at Martinsville, though.
A little housekeeping.
I think as well as, something you can do here is if you get that left front just slightly up on that berm, it, it raises the left front of the car and it gets you some right rear grip into your car or into your truck and, really drives that thing into the ground. And, if you can nick it just right and not really upset it, but, just get it to drive back there to that right rear, then you can drive off the corner a lot better, and especially get up under a guy on the exit if you cut the corner off just that little bit more.
Well, the trucks have gone into the pit area, and they'll all get in the pit box before the teams are given the green light to begin their changes and repairs.
And it's a great time to clean the windshield. We were watching some of those in-truck videos and the cameras, and you could really see how difficult vision is becoming. But Kraus was working on his inside there, and they'll pull a tear off here too, I'm sure, to give him some better view out of that Napa Toyota.
Let's get more with Jamie Little.
Yeah, and the modified pit stops here, modified live, so they have to wait. NASCAR just gave them the okay. So in the meantime, like you guys said, drivers are working inside. They'll pull a tear off to help with that vision. You're looking at the 19 of Derek Kraus. What a night, as you guys had noted. Said he needs to be tightened up just a bit on exit, but he really feels like they're the best truck through the middle, that's where he's beating the competition. And he told him that the track right now is really rubbering up. That's the big notice that he's taken so far. And next to him on the right side is Brett Moffitt. Good to see him back in the series. Hasn't been in a truck since Bristol. Doing a heck of a job with this new team. They're going to change tires there for him. He actually said, we think we have a race-winning truck. It's that good. I just need to be able to run on the bottom. Let's go over to the other side to Jamie Howe.
We'll start with Carson Hocevar in that number 42. He said that it was trying to come to him a bit, but it was just really sketchy. He said it's not the truck that's loose, it's the racetrack at this point. He needs it off of the right front more. During that last stop, they did get it off of the left front, so he said that worked out. They were able to get a couple of stage points, but he's still trying to save his tires. This last and final stage of the race is the longest one, so he's managing that tire wear, trying to figure out what he can get at the end of a stint. Move up a little bit to the number 38 of Todd Gilliland. And he was frustrated over the radio. He said to his team that it's really, he doesn't like that he lost all of those stage points in the first stage and the second stage, just with 2 corners to go, because both of them ended under caution. He had led so many laps, so he's thinking big picture championship points right now. But he does say that he does need a little bit tighter. He said that he needs to get back into his rhythm. He needs to stay on the bottom a bit more. He was having a hard time doing that, as you talked about how important that is. And so they're going to give him just some air pressure adjustment, some track bar adjustment, try and get him the right front, just not to give up as much for him to be able to race.
Yeah, that track position going to be so important, and when you get it, you can't afford to lose any spots, whether it's because you got pushed to the top side or you get spun around. It's going to be very little give and a whole lot of take in this final stage. The Camping World Truck Series has raced in Iowa many times before, but never before at Knoxville Raceway. This is the first time NASCAR at Knoxville. The Camping World Truck Series on the dirt. Jamie Little.
Well, then some different strategy for the 2 and the 8 team. Both decided to stay out. So I just talked to Jeff Stankiewicz, the crew chief for Sheldon Creed, and he said we were in a position where we were just going backwards. So we decided, let's play defense. We'll stay out. He said, but I just walked over and took a look at some of the tires they just took off those trucks, and I'm kind of worried about our decision. They cannot come in and put that second set of tires on unless one goes down. So they made their bet, and they're going to stick with it.
You're either going to be a hero or a zero.
I'm leaning toward the zero on this one.
Yeah, those tires, we saw some that were really worn. So, and plus, if if Creed has to restart second.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
You know, Kevin, that's going to be a hard row to hold.
And there's no choose zone here.
Send the spotter down to the 34 with a couple $100 bills and beg.
Yeah.
Let me in.
Or you just try to do the best you can to jump, get a good start, and get against the 18 truck of Chandler Smith a bit, but Chandler's not going to stand for that.
A Sunday on FS1, the most anticipated soccer tournament of the year begins as the United States men's national team looks to defend its home turf, taking on Haiti in the Gold Cup. All kicks off Sunday at 8:30 Eastern on FS1 and the Fox Sports app.
One to go.
It'll be the final stage. And before we get the green, we'll get this from Jimmy Howe.
And Stuart Friesen, the 52, they took that pit stop as a chance to make some wholesale setup changes. The track is so different from when we first started this race, but one of the big takeaways after Stuart got back out there was they said, just so you know, that right rear tire, it was pretty gone. Remember, you have 10 laps more in this stage to run on it.
Say, Stuart, it was fun to watch, but you wore your right rear tire out. Keep that in mind.
This is the longest stage of the night, the final stage, and that tire wear will play a key role, I'm guessing, before it's all said and done.
But when the 2 made that decision, he was thinking he was going to be the only one and get to control this restart, and now he is
in trouble.
Big trouble.
Look just behind him.
Chandler Smith on the bottom, Sheldon Creed on the top. Final stage underway from Knoxville.
Jake Griffin in that 34 filling that space as well.
Creed trying to get to the bottom, and a little contact there with the 19 of Kraus. Creed goes back.
Kosovar gets around Griffin.
Lots of spots lost for Sheldon Creed.
And Derek Kraus back there stuck on the high side as well.
The caution is out.
This is when you pray you're an odd number.
Absolutely. And that odd number is 3. Parker Price Miller.
You don't want to be that odd number.
No. And 24 of Jack Wood.
That's game ender there for the 24. Must have broken the oil cooler. See the fluid there on the bottom of the racetrack.
It's the series debut for Parker. And it has, I don't know if it has come to an end, but it certainly has been derailed. Driving that 3 truck for Jordan Anderson this week.
You see a lot of damage to the front end there.
Looks like he can't get it fired.
That says dirt racing, doesn't it?
What's that say?
It says I'm done, I think.
Into the night.
Good night.
Well, stage 3, the final stage, has just got going, and we're in a pause. Throw the green when we come back, though. Stay with us. Knoxville, Iowa, in the 3rd and final stage. That 3rd stage just underway as we take a look at our Blue Emu race summary. Todd Gilliland has led the most laps at 61, but currently finds himself in the 10th position. And Chandler Smith is our leader.
And I'm telling you, Vince, that's a real deficit. When you're on the outside, we see that. You want to be lined up on the bottom. Derek Kraus all the way back to 8th with that fast truck earlier.
And speaking of Chandler Smith as the leader, Jamie Smith is with his crew chief.
Or Jamie Little.
Or
but
Jamie,
either way,
Jamie
Vince.
Little, Jamie Smith.
There's 2 Jamies. There's a bunch of
There's so many
Smiths.
Jamies, I can't even.
There's a lot going on, but Chandler Smith is leading, and this is his crew chief, the man that made the call. He decided not to pit there yesterday. And Danny, I know based on practice, you guys were bad fast. Are you confident right now in your decision to stay out? Because you're out there till the end now.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident. It's a one-groove racetrack right now. We knew that coming into this day, and we restarted on the top a few times and lost 6, 7 spots, and I knew that we had to have track position to be able to have a good finish tonight. When he can run his line, it's really good. So we'll just have to see to the end. There's about 55 laps to go. I think we can do it.
All right, he's confident, Vince.
Thank you, Jamie. And Danny Stockman, he's won a few. He knows when to take that gamble.
I guarantee you, Vince, though, he went and looked at some of those tires that come off those trucks at that stage break, and he is nervous. That's going to be a real stretch to run all the way to the checker on those tires. Can we look down there and see how much tread's left? There's an example of what came off of Stuart Friesen's truck. Gone.
Wow.
But remember, we did see Stuart Friesen run around the top dead sideways for about 10 laps. It could have worn out.
As a driver, though, Kevin, you want your crew chief to tell you the tires look great.
Oh, absolutely. Match perfect, staggered special, whatever it takes, you know. Probably the worst thing Chandler's thinking about right now is I wish I could have cleaned my windshield, though.
Yeah.
Tread will be king before it's all said and done. Final stage from Knoxville.
This weekend, the best anglers in the world tackle freshwater's hardest fighter. Emotions run high. Tension strikes fast. Big dreams, bigger bass on the biggest stage. It's the Bassmaster Elite Series, live on Lake Champlain, Saturday and Sunday morning on FS1 and the Fox Sports app.
Okay, Sabrina, I see you.
Where do you want this at, Chris?
Wait, what?
Is this one of your State Farm commercials?
Yeah, sure is.
Jake from State Farm?
Did they not send you all the scripts?
No. Chris smiles and says, "Wow, love State Farm's surprisingly great rates." Then suddenly his body turns into a basketball. Come on, this stuff is...
Chris?
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Ooh, I can't wait to get you home.
I'm gonna eat you up when you go home. Oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait. I'm just gonna bite you.
Oh, baby. That looks amazing. Marcos, pizza lovers get it.
So ashamed I overpaid for this used car. I've decided to go undercover.
Remember, if you don't see me, you're not seeing the most accurate price. Shop at Carfax. You won't have to overpay on a used car again. Shop millions of great deals at the all-new Carfax.com.
The U.S. men's national team look to defend their home turf. The Gold Cup. USA, Haiti. Sunday at 8:30 Eastern on FS1.
Duncan, good news.
Missed any of Fox's Monday animation?
Would you write me a prescription for some sexual healing?
As we've discussed, I don't write prescriptions.
Fox has you covered.
Gives me a little ba-boom and a little ba-bang.
You can watch Housebroken. Oh, it tickles, but in a good way. Honey, highly recommend. And Duncanville anytime.
Thanks for coming. I love being famous.
Fox Animation Domination Continuation. All new Mondays on Fox and watch anytime on Fox Now or Hulu.
I am seeing what everybody else is not, and here we go.
That is so dramatic.
I'm a big believer that you cannot reduce sports to numbers. These are humans. These are athletes. I pay money to watch Hart. I want to pay money to watch Brady and LeBron.
The internet's going to pay attention to this. You know it.
I've always had a rule, never go cheap on transportation, toilet paper, or quarterbacks. The money for NFL quarterbacks is always worth it.
It's the third different dirt track for the Camping World Truck Series after racing at Eldora and then earlier this season at Bristol. Tonight, we're at Knoxville Raceway in Knoxville, Iowa. Vince Welch, along with Kevin Swindell and Michael Waltrip, Jamie Little and Jamie Howe on pit road. And we're getting ready for a restart here in the third and final stage with Chandler Smith on the inside in that 18 truck and Carson Hocevar in the 42 on the outside. And if you're just joining us, the money is being made at the bottom. And if you're on the outside, you're in trouble. You got to find a way to get to the bottom. Great restart for Hocevar.
Oh, look at that.
That's huge.
Wow. What an impressive launch. Make sure NASCAR thought it was fair and square. See Jake Griffin there in the 34. Stuck up top. He's doing a nice job tonight. He can just squeeze down.
Nemechek in trouble here.
There's John Hunter in that 4 truck right in the middle of the 3 wide, but finds his way to the bottom right behind the 98 of Grant Enfinger. Haven't talked a lot about Enfinger tonight, but he has done a nice job inside the top 10 again.
There's no surprise, right, Vince? Every week he runs up toward the front. Whether he's driving. Oh, another move here for the lead.
Wow. Chandler Smith gets inside and takes the spot from Hocevar.
They said they had a good truck.
Certainly evident by that powerful move to get the lead. Crafton now is going to see if he can dispose of the 42. Hocevar's been fast all night. Surprisingly, he's slipping back.
Gilliland and now Stuart Friesen trying to get by shots.
Friesen had that window to get inside, but couldn't quite make it happen.
Got to be so careful about opening up your entry or your exit to anything, and if somebody get a fender in there, they're going to take it.
Sheldon Creed trying to chase down John Hunter. Kraus on the outside. Derek Kraus there in that 19 truck. Won stage 1 and stage 2, and started the night from the pole. So I mean, it's been that kind of Friday night for Derek Kraus, getting the earning pole position and then winning stage 1 and stage 2. Can he, by chance, get up there and win the race tonight?
Oh, left her down. 19.
Nope.
Around he goes.
Just as we were talking about him, and it's a problem, and the caution is out for the 19 of Kraus.
Now, we're to the point now where it's just, I got to run into you if I'm going to pass you. And we're seeing that repeatedly. Is that pretty much what you're seeing, Kevin?
Yeah, I mean, they've done that since the very beginning. I mean, look at a few of those trucks that have been beat up the whole time, and I think he just got stuck out and obviously wanted back down, and Rhodes wanted the spot. You saw the 19 do that to someone earlier, and I think he set the precedent, and the 99 took advantage of it.
Yeah, look right behind him, 38 shoving all over 99. So, and that bump off turn 2 was what cut the left rear. As you can see, it's flat there on the 19 truck.
Yeah, I think whatever's sticking out of the body probably just dug into the side of the sidewall there.
Maybe it was that chrome horn.
I was literally.
I think we finally have a picture of what a chrome horn actually looks like.
We've heard about it for years.
Yes, and I've never really seen one.
Yeah,
and
just
now
behind the body.
It's like the Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot. You've heard about it, but you've never really seen it, and well, there it is.
Yeah, Ben Rhodes said, all right, guys, push has come to shove, and I've got my chrome horn out. Will NASCAR make him?
Is the chrome horn related to the Lucky Horseshoe?
No, we know where that is.
Well, I think this is maybe going to be a little something we're going to see a little more regularly here in this final stage, and that's the caution flag, because as you guys noted, if you're going to have to move somebody to pass them, we're going to see others go around.
I think Brian Brown just got a free pass and went around the field. NASCAR could black flag Ben Rhodes for that.
Rhodes won the first 2 races of the season. Of course, the opener at Daytona, and then the road course there at Daytona as well. We're going to squeeze in another break while we're under caution. Coming back to Knoxville. Knoxville Raceway in Knoxville, Iowa. It's race number 14 of the Camping World Truck Series season. The next to the last race in the regular season. We'll wrap up the regular season August 7th at Watkins Glen. Begin the playoffs August 20th in the St. Louis area at Worldwide Technology. But we got business to finish here in Knoxville, as Chandler Smith in the 18 has shown he just might have the truck to beat Carson Hocevar starting on the outside. Got a great restart last time and jumped to the lead. Let's see what happens this time. He's done it again. Wow.
Don't think he quite made the rubber, though. Gave him just enough to lean in there.
Oh, what great racing. Good move by Chandler Smith to grab the bottom.
Got him.
And Hocevar better get down quickly, and he does in front of Matt Crafton.
Right behind Crafton is the 25 of Josh Berry. They're squeezing in for space in the back. John Hunter trying to cut down. There's Stuart Friesen. Right behind him, 99 with his chrome horn.
It looked like they were black flagging him as we went by the flag stand there, maybe, if I saw that right.
The outside is not the place to be, and yes, they are, giving the black flag to the 99 of Ben Rhodes.
Man, they've been nice. They could have got that handled under caution.
Why wouldn't they?
Yeah, you don't know what the communication was like, but this is going to be a couple, 3 laps he's going to lose.
Costly.
I wonder where you actually have to blend to come to pit road here.
I guarantee you Ben Rhodes is wondering that as well.
Tracy Hines, Thor Sport Racing, having that conversation with the NASCAR officials. Jamie?
Well, you saw what was going on there, talking to the NASCAR officials. Not happy. They're frustrated that they didn't have him come in and give him the black flag under caution instead of waiting until they took the green flag. Obviously, this will take him out of contention as the 99's trying to get down. And we got trucks around on the track, Vince.
And now the caution comes out. Oh, man, it's gone from bad to worse for Ben Rhodes as Friesen and Truex have come together.
Yeah, I don't understand why they couldn't have rectified that during the caution flag, but maybe the communication between the team and NASCAR wasn't clear. The team thought they could just stay out.
Although with Rhodes coming in and the caution coming out, at least maybe it does.
Could have been a lot worse.
Keeps him from losing multiple laps.
It looked like he was really close to actually staying on the lead lap there. I'm surprised they didn't just let him roll through and keep his lead lap spot, or just and then come back around under full yellow.
You see Tracy Hines, part of the management staff at Thor Sport, still arguing that with the NASCAR officials.
There's Friesen getting turned around. Was that Austin Wayne Self in the 22 maybe?
Looked like the 2 shoved the 22. Got the 52.
And Chase Briscoe almost got collected there as well. And then Truex on the outside didn't have much choice. Tracy Hines, outstanding racer in his own right. And you see just a lot of upset team members trying to figure out the communication, I presume, or lack thereof, in regards to the 99 of Ben Rhodes.
Trying to get this issue resolved as Rhodes has already been down to serve his, not serve his penalty, but fix the damage.
Rich Lucius.
From Knoxville Raceway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
And the NASCAR officials, I've never seen an official change the call.
Well,
and regardless of the sport.
Yeah, he's a couple of laps down as a result of the miscommunication. Whatever happened, we're not clear whether NASCAR might have clearly said pit under this caution and they just didn't do that. We don't know. But you can tell the way Rich has argued his case, he felt like they've been done wrong.
And in all likelihood, eliminates Ben Rhodes from contention unless something miraculous happens for him at this point.
Man, Stewart's such an accomplished dirt racer. Wins dirt modified races all over the Northeast, and Bristol, it didn't go like we thought it would for Stewart, and he's struggled here as well, so that's kind of hard to understand.
We've seen tempers flare here on the dirt, and can imagine what might happen when the playoffs are on the verge of presenting themselves when we run the regular season finale at Watkins Glen in a few weeks.
How many times have we wondered who was going to win on the road courses coming off the last turn, and there's contact, so much drama, so much excitement. And Watkins Glen, one of the best racetracks in America.
There's the playoff standings at this point. Friesen now on the bubble. Boy, it has swung in a big way as Friesen came into this race feeling very comfortable at plus 67 and plus 52, but he's on the bubble.
Yeah.
So if one of those drivers below the line would win, Stuart Friesen would be out. All right, Jamie Little, explain what's going on down there with your guest.
Yes, Rich Lucius, we just saw he was surrounded by NASCAR officials, obviously very frustrated by the call to bring your driver in because you guys had something in the grill. What was their response to you?
With about 2 to go, they were talking about it, but they didn't tell us we had to pit. And then all of a sudden, when we were coming back to green, they had told us we were going to get black flagged, we had to pit. So I guess I'll go to the NASCAR hauler after this race and figure out why they were going green and told us we had to pit, because it's pretty much bullshit.
Sorry for the language. Thanks, Rich.
Yeah. I understand certainly his frustration because, when you're coming to 1 to go, he was riding around with it for 4 or 5 laps under caution. Pits under caution, obviously lose a lot of track position, but look what the ultimate penalty cost him.
At least on the lead lap, you can kind of salvage, but now you're pretty much dead in the water.
Well, getting ready for this restart, going back to green, and maybe a little bit of racing because it seems like it has been very up and down, and the caution comes out after a lap or 2, and haven't really found our rhythm here in this final stage. And Hocevar with another good jump in front of Chandler Smith. I don't know how he's doing it from the outside.
I don't either, because look at Brett Moffitt. He was right on his tailgate. Now Brett stuck up top in that 37 truck racing beside. Oh, and look at Austin Hill digging down low.
Josh Berry took the worst of that.
Berry now stuck 3 wide on the outside. That's not going to work.
No, Berry still trying to find a way to the bottom, and Austin Wade Self gave him a little nudge. Self couldn't get to the bottom either. For the lead, Hocevar can't hold it. Chandler Smith takes it, and Matt Crafton grabs second in the process.
I would assume by the looks of that, the 18 helped him in the corner.
Got him a little bit wide.
Just gave him a little entry speed.
Grant Infinger now pursuing Hocevar for third.
And 18's got to be wondering about his tires too, Vince. He's got the lead, but will that right rear hold up for him?
Chase Briscoe in the 0-4. He'll run the Cup race in Atlanta on Sunday. I'd like to get him another Truck Series trophy here tonight. Jumping on the plane and flying south. Todd Gilliland in the 38. Winner earlier this season at COTA. The 2 of Sheldon Creed, one at Darlington.
That was a great turn by the 38 of Gilliland. Couldn't quite squeeze inside of Creed, but man, he had a good run off the corner, and he's doing it again.
John Hunter Nemechek, who started at the back of the field, has worked his way inside the top 10 as you watch Gilliland and Creed beating and banging on one another.
It's impressive we hadn't had more right front issues of guys, cramming through there and squeezing the body down and having some kind of rub that causes a bigger problem.
I just love how tactful these guys are in knocking each other out of the way. We certainly can see a lot more heavy contact that would cause a caution, but very nice bumping and grinding.
There's definitely strategic ways to run into somebody that don't have them completely running back into you when you ultimately make that move.
This is the battle for third. Hocevar trying to hold off Infinger.
Right behind them, Brett Moffitt. He will go to Atlanta to run a couple of the Xfinity races. A lot of guys really watch the weather today and are happy we're racing tonight.
Moffitt in that 37. Again, that's the second truck out of the AM Racing stable this weekend. Moffitt, an Iowan,
And he's also, Vince, the youngest winner of a feature event ever at Knoxville. Back in 2007, he won a modified race at Knoxville.
There's the 0-2. That's Chris Wyndham bringing out the caution. Wyndham, a late substitute for Michael Annette.
Kevin, did you mention that you were surprised more right front tires haven't gone away in this event?
No, not at all.
Here's how it happened. Just like you described it would. It's amazing. You know what you're doing.
Sometimes.
Less than 20 to go at Knoxville. Our Camping World Truck Series. Check in with Jamie Little before going green. Jamie?
Listening to Chandler Smith, the leader. Remember, he's on those old tires. He said, I just can't get going on these restarts. I just have so much wheel spin. And his crew chief told him, Danny Stockman said, you got to get on it. You got to go faster. You're a little slow to the box. After that, though, they feel like they're the fastest truck out there.
Right behind him, Matt Crafton in that number 88. Remember at the start of the show, we talked about him saying that patience and staying ahead of the racetrack were going to be the two keys. He's been able to do that. Now it is go time. The team telling him that you're better than Chandler Smith is in that number 18. On this restart, you have the ability to get him. Right behind Matt in the number 42 is Carson Hocevar. He's frustrated right now. He said, you can't take the truck out at all, but he said he needs to in order to get any drive off of it. So he's very frustrated with the truck that he has in these closing laps.
So Chandler Smith, remember, did not pit at the end of stage 2, stayed out, and we thought really tires were going to make a big difference, so he did not get fresh tires at the end of that second stage. But even though it's not working on the initial jump at the restart, doesn't seem to hurt his speed much once they get going, as Jamie reported.
Yeah, but I think Matt's been a really fast truck lately. You know, Carson seems to be struggling a bit. Crafton, if he can get a start like Hocevar got, I don't know that Chandler Smith's going to just drive back around Crafton.
I would agree. Grant Enfinger will start behind Crafton, so a couple of Thor Sport teammates there in the 2 and 4 positions. Lap is being added. Go ahead, Kevin.
I think I agree with Danny, though, about just needs to roll into the start faster. I think that's about the only way he's going to minimize the wheel spin here to launch better. And you know, even before they said that, that's what I was thinking is the only thing he can do is just roll quicker.
Well, he's the control truck, so he can pull him in there a little bit faster than normal and get away with that. Obviously, NASCAR doesn't like you playing a lot of games in the restart box, but he can speed up some, and that's the direction he got. You were saying during break that's what you thought he should do.
Kevin Swindell and Michael Waltrip, I'm Vince Welch, Jamie Little and Jamie Howe down on pit road. 15 laps remaining here in the first ever NASCAR race at Knoxville Raceway here in Iowa. You look at our playoff cut line there at the bottom left-hand portion of the screen, and at 58 points, it's pretty sizable. And Stuart Friesen a little bit nervous now on that bubble. Can Ankrum, Johnny Sauter, can they make something happen here in these last 2 regular season races? Right now, Ankrum sits in the 12th position, and Sauter is deeper yet. Back to green.
I think he's got it done this time. If he could just hook turn 2.
He picked up the pace for sure, leading into his roll there. Just had to cover the 42, pushing him down to the 1.
Oh, more contact.
It is going to be tough to get a position without contact here in these final laps, because the spots are so valuable, and especially down on the bottom.
We are full contact truck racing at Knoxville Raceway.
Chandler Smith leads, Carson Hocevar second, and Brett Moffitt, the Iowan, is third. Boy, what a story that would be if Moffitt could manage to take it to victory lane, but he's got a bumper full of Grant Enfinger right now.
That was aggressive, and look up front. Hocevar is not letting Chandler Smith get away now, and Enfinger is not letting the tailgate of Brett Moffitt go. Oh, and look at that. Moffitt with the left rear flat.
And that'll bring out the caution again.
I was literally just about to say that 37 is about as clean of a truck as anybody has. And
now it's as bad as anybody's.
Yep.
So that will end Moffitt's chances tonight.
We're creeping down inside of 10 to go, Vince.
He's definitely got the best set of front fenders probably on the racetrack.
There won't be many, if any, clean ones at the end of this night.
Chandler Smith saying, no, thank goodness I get to do another restart.
And the
team on the restarts is going to start alongside it. See if we can see what happened to Zane Smith. He's stuck on the top side, the 21.
I mean, there's just so much contact on these restarts. Yep. When there's really only one place to be, and that's the bottom. Check in with Jamie Howe.
And Phil Gould's the crew chief for Carson Hocevar. I heard you say he's the only one that's able to hang high at all there. What are you seeing in these last few laps that you think can get you guys a victory tonight?
Well, we just been too tight this whole last run. We were trying to conserve the right rear, and it's starting to come around for him, but just be nice to get some green flag racing.
So we...
You know, and I saw that too, Kevin. He really was hounding Chandler Smith where Chandler had been driving away. So
it almost seems like the tires kind of equalize after like a lap or so, but Chandler's just got to get through that first lap. You know, then it's kind of almost like they're back on equal playing ground, but he definitely was all over him, pushing him down into one and then through 1 and 2 there.
And what about Enfinger? He's going to line up third. He just put the power move on Brett Moffitt.
Yeah, he's obviously not afraid to get aggressive here, so.
Austin Hill has been so good on the bottom as well.
They're running around up there in that tacky dirt, trying to maybe cool the tires. What did they do that for, Kevin, when they go up high like that?
Yeah, normally you can try a little bit. You can either run the bottom of the straightaways or obviously up there, you know, the top of the corners. And it's always kind of been we're not sure if it really works, but obviously where you run on the racetrack has got to be warmer than whatever that is. And if you can almost find a little bit of a puddle of some sort, I think that's when you're really going to gain anything.
When I ran dirt last, if I saw someone else doing it, I thought, well, I better do that. That might be something to it.
I think that's what happens a lot of the time is you just monkey see, monkey do.
Here's the 98 of Enfinger moving the 37 of Moffitt, and that's where that tire got cut down.
Look at that front bumper of Enfinger. He's been using it all night.
Not the first time he's used it.
Watch right there. No more left rear.
Squishy.
Brett's like, he fought so hard all night long to get in a position to win this race. You mentioned it, Vince, Iowa native and a winner at this track before, but not tonight.
Some repairs done to that 21 truck of Zane Smith as well.
That's a tender bison. Most of those guys out there are tough bisons tonight.
Not the way. How do you want your bison, Mike? Do you want that? You want your bison tender?
I want it tough tonight. I need a tough bison. You could see there. 1 to go. This is going to be fun.
Oh, it's down to the nitty-gritty now. It is going to be a tough spot to get. Every spot's going to be earned at this point.
What do you think Danny Schatz is thinking, Kevin, with all this bumping and gouging? Hadn't seen...
He hadn't seen this much contact probably in his whole career.
That's what I was thinking. I know he's seen a lot of action, but
it's funny. He's a guy who honestly, he flipped like a couple weeks ago, and it's one of those things you don't see him crash very often ever. And you know, he's not one to really tear anything up. And yeah, this is probably the most he's been run into or ran into anyone else, you know, in the last 20 years of his career, I'd say.
It's been fun to see Donnie in the show.
And then
I've enjoyed it.
They're adding a lap because there's a mess back there trying to sort out who's starting where, and I don't know how they fix this. Guys are just trying to take it
on over who's in what position. Help? This got to help the 18, doesn't it, Jamie Little?
A little bit. It's interesting. I've been listening to their radio and the back and forth between Chandler and his crew chief, Danny Stockman. Danny said, do not spin the tires. You don't have enough tire. Do not spin the tires. And the intensity, Vince, you hear and you realize they've never won a race together. Chandler Smith is a rookie this year. He has never gone to victory lane. They feel it. They know it's in their sights. They know the truck is good enough. They just have to nail this restart.
Yeah, better to run them under caution than under green. Nobody's banging into you or moving you out of the way under caution. Well, can we stay green to the finish? We're about to find out.
I'm going to guess not.
Camping World, 5 to go at Knoxville. Oh, and Chandler Smith gets a good jump this time.
And look at Grant Enfinger wedging his way inside of Hocevar with Austin Hill. The guy we've talked about all night long being so good on the bottom. He's rooting all over the back of Enfinger.
So Chandler Smith with the lead, and it's a big fight behind for second.
And 10, 12, 14.
Everywhere.
And look at Austin Hill. He's trying to squeeze inside of Enfinger.
Austin Hill's going to get second. Enfinger back to third and a big pile up. And it looks like NASCAR overtime.
Pretty much saw that one coming.
Chet Nolan, the 45. Haley Deegan involved in that as well. Heavy damage to that one truck.
Austin Hill with an awesome job getting to second. And the bad news about that is you're in second, Austin.
Well, and there's no choice about starting on the inside because no choose zone here. So Austin Hill will have to go to the outside, and Chandler Smith's going to have to endure another one of these restarts.
Couldn't you hear that conversation between he and Stockman? You don't have any rear tires. You've got to be careful. And Chandler Smith's like, well, you're the reason why I don't have any rear tires. Don't be yelling at me.
I mean, there's just not enough room.
No, there isn't. John Hunter goes around, and then Haley just nowhere to go. Johnny Sauter.
Sauter, yeah. Parker Price Miller barely getting through. It kind of looked like, it's a busy interstate on the icy, wintry roads. That's about as slick as it is, right?
Look at that mess.
Wouldn't shock me if most of that started in 3 and 4 with somebody angry at somebody in the accordion effect.
Right along with Haley Deegan, see what she saw. Stuck on the outside, and John Hunter, flat tire, gets into Creed.
Spotters can't do much for you there.
No, spotters aren't doing much, period, I don't think, because of the way these guys are all fighting for the bottom. You can't clear a guy because he's just going to try to take it away from you.
I think a lot of times, even if somebody says inside, you're just going back to where you were and hoping for the best anyway.
Yep.
It's probably the most the left side mirrors have been used this year.
It's so hard to see, though. That on a dirt track with the mirrors getting dirt on them and the dust and all that's going on.
So many of these trucks just going right to the heat when they get back home. And some serious damage. As Sheldon Creed, the defending series champ, pulls it in. His hopes for a victory are dashed. Who do you like? Who's it going to be?
Well, I'm going to take Chandler Smith. Kevin, who you like?
Well, you're right on a limb, Caroline. Don't fall off that limb.
I mean, if you're going to go that easy, I'll just take the next best thing and take the 98.
Yeah, I like the 98's attitude. I mean, he has been aggressive. It's been such a trying year for Grant Enfinger. Wasn't sure his schedule when the season started, missed a race, but has been so solid. And every race that he's run this year. Getting a win would make that all so much easier to deal with.
Restarts have not been Austin Hill's friend through much of this season, but boy, this would be a great time for him to get a good one. In that 16 truck, he'll restart from the outside of the 18, and we've noted multiple times tonight how good Austin Hill has been on the bottom. If he could get a good jump on this restart and take the lead from Chandler Smith, wow, I think you're going to have a hard time getting around Austin Hill.
You know who else is pulling for Grant Enfinger, Kevin? Tim Duggar. He's on the back tailgate of the 98 truck. So Duggar's right there with you.
And watching tonight, I'm sure. Tim's a big NASCAR fan.
Big NASCAR fan, great country music singer, and just loves this sport. Try to get an eyeball on Duggar there.
Shout out to you, Tim. Well, it is NASCAR overtime, and if you're not familiar with the rules of overtime, yes, it is a 2-lap shootout. They'll take the green, and if you come back around and get the white, well, the next flag will end the race, whether that's the checkers or the caution. If the leader does not take the white flag before the caution comes out, well, we'll re-rack it and do it again.
I almost bet you that the leader will take the white flag no matter what happens, because of the tight confines that we're racing in tonight. We could be here all night if they...
I'm just glad we were able to get it in. I mean, the weather forecast at the beginning of the day today was terrible, and we did have heavy rain move through, but it has been a beautiful evening, and Mother Nature has cooperated with us, and we are so thankful.
Very entertaining race, too. I mean, it's just really fun to see these truckers doing battle here on the dirt in Iowa. Something I didn't think I might ever see. NASCAR at Knoxville, but man, the fans have turned out. Fox NASCAR on the ground. This is a great night.
The two drivers starting on the front row, neither has won yet this season. Chandler Smith in that 18 truck down on the bottom has never won a Camping World Truck Series race. Austin Hill, a 6-time winner, but looking for his first win this season. Who's it going to be? It's NASCAR overtime in Knoxville.
Chandler Smith did his job.
Oh, and there's the big pileup.
This is
going to bring out the caution again. Oh boy, they're just piling in, unable to get stopped. It's turning into a demolition derby.
Turning into? There's a fire.
We're going to put the red out.
Yeah, I think it's just the yellow light flashing in the smoke. Oh, I thought Norm was, it's running over stuff.
Yep, Chase Briscoe has climbed out. He has had enough. The 45 involved in that one as well. Of course, Jet Nolan. There's Donnie Schatz. His night is complete.
Wow.
Sheldon Creed out of his truck and done. And as mentioned, the red flag has been displayed. All the trucks, even those that could actually still roll around the track, have come to a stop and been stopped.
I got to tell you, Vince, I didn't see green, red coming. I mean, green, yellow, I can give you that. I thought it would be green, white. I had no idea it would be green, red.
Well, the drivers involved in this one all have to go to the medical center to get checked out.
How big is it there?
I hope they've got room. And it's been a crowded place tonight. And just good to see Chase give the thumbs up.
That started really near the front, didn't it?
Yeah, it
really
looked like
about 8th spot back.
Like the 34 was sideways. Whether he got the back out on his own or he got help, I don't know here.
Where you see?
Oh, he did that.
Yeah. Oh, 34 got sideways and
just got aggressive trying to get going. Got the back out and couldn't get it back, and then
Austin Wayne Self involved as well. The 15 of Tanner Gray took on some heavy damage. Chase Purdy as well.
You can see Jake Griffin
Griffin in that 34 and just didn't have much chance. I think he was getting a little help from behind as well, but there is no room. I mean, everybody, as you made the comment earlier, Mike, it is full contact racing, and everybody's leaning on somebody.
That's a shame to tear up that many trucks. It looks like the big one at Daytona or Talladega. Let's see what Sean saw here.
But now he took a couple of big hits there. They're still running into him.
I think even if he was trying to give the 34 the benefit of the doubt and let him tether it back up, he was probably getting shoved from behind as well. So
Josh Berry and the Rackley Roofing War Machine. They've already put the 44 of Alexander on the truck. Morgan Alexander's series debut coming to a premature end.
Still got trucks to pull off. You can see there.
Clean up and tow.
Contact into Chase Briscoe. 45 of Jet Nolan.
Hey, I want to say before, as we're running late here and past our window, Kevin Swindell, certainly really enjoyed having you with us tonight. Thank you for being here and providing your expertise on the racing on the dirt. It's been fun.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun. We still got a little bit of action to go here, so judging off of that, we might have a few more of these.
Mike, can you run out and get Kevin and I some breakfast?
If you don't mind.
Hey, there you go.
I'll be right back, Vince.
Let's get us an order to go. Coming back to Knoxville. Stay with us. Love this beautiful aerial shot. I'm starting to fear, though, that we're going to see the sunrise on one of these. It's taken a while to get to the end under red here for the Camping World Truck Series. And boy, what a beautiful location for the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame Museum. The Hall of Fame and the museum, we might add. And Ben Rhodes took a tour through it earlier this weekend. And boy, some great. If you haven't made it to Knoxville, put it on your bucket list, and you want to make that stop and see some of the great history. Such a wonderful facility. And the Brian Clausen Suites there as well.
Yeah, what a great facility. Sprint car capital of the world.
Jamie Little is with Sheldon Creed.
Yes, of course, he's been checked and released. It's been a tough night for this team. And Sheldon, you called it. You said this is exactly how it was going to unfold. How was it from the driver's seat?
I mean, the first 25 laps were so much fun. You could move around. There was a racetrack. And then we struggled there a little bit in the middle. I made a lot of ground, then kind of fell back, and you didn't want to start on the top. Had issues with the 19. He hit me like 3 different times. Kept moving my way back forward, would start on the outside, move back, and just try to keep my head down, not get frustrated with people there. And with 6 there with like 10 to go, I don't know where the 22 was going. I think he was going to win the race from 8. And just got booted out of the way. I don't know where the floor came from, and then we all wrecked here. So Knoxville fans are awesome. I want to thank Lift Kids for Less, everyone at the shop, everyone at home. Thank you for everyone for the hard work, but we don't belong here. We should be down at Iowa Speedway, what these trucks are made for, but thank you guys.
Thank you. Vince?
Well, it certainly has been kind of a frustrating finish on a number of accounts for the way this one has come to an end tonight and we're not done yet, but
bet you give Chandler Smith a couple of laps and gets the checker flag, he's going to
have a different attitude.
It's exactly where we belong.
Yep. No matter who ends up taking home that trophy, he's going to be very pleased. Jamie Howe?
Brett Moffitt out from earlier contact. He's already changed his clothes. You're the hometown boy. I know you were looking forward to this. You have another race even later on this weekend. What happened tonight?
Yeah, I got a little free into 3 and then tried to get back to the bottom, and Grant was there and didn't cut any brakes, that's for sure. But that was, I don't want to blame him all on that. It was as much my fault as it was his there. So, yeah, well, I mean, that view's a little different, but, it is what it is. Sucks to end that way, but we had a really fast Chevy Silverado that these guys brought me, and can't thank my partners enough. Concrete Supply, Destiny Homes, and everybody involved with this. It was kind of a last-minute deal, and they brought me a race-winning truck. It was hard fighting for the bottom on restarts there, trying to position yourself for that, but man, what a great race car, and this was a super fun dirt race for me, and I can't really say that about the past, so I enjoyed it here.
When you go from a truck on the dirt here at Knoxville to an Xfinity car on the pavement down in Atlanta later this weekend, how do you wrap your mind around those changes and what you as a driver have to do?
Well, I just like being in the car every chance I get. So, for me, it's reset. Head down to Atlanta in the morning and go and attack that race. I know we got some helpers coming with us from tonight, so I'm glad we got the truck race in to bring some more personnel to help out on the Xfinity car tomorrow, and hopefully we have a really fast Chevy Camaro there and can have another shot at a good run.
Thank you, Brett.
Former series champ. Didn't end up quite the way he had hoped it would tonight. I thought it was interesting as he was looking at that replay, and it looked a little bit different than how he thought it was. It's amazing, pro or con, how actually seeing the replay sometimes changes your opinion of what happened.
I think that was after the fact. When he already had that tire going down on the left rear, he got hit prior to that. But, yeah, he didn't like the way it looked.
Donnie Schatz didn't like the way this looked. Probably didn't like the way it felt either. Under red, hoping to go back green and wrap it up. Back in Knoxville, and the cleanup continues, just about done, and you see the trucks parked. We are under red after the big pile up during our first attempt at overtime. One of those caught up in that melee was Chase Briscoe, and he is with Jamie Little.
And he's one of those dirt specialists, but you came up, jumped back in your old roots, and it looked like you guys were having a lot of fun for the last 2 days. But what happened there at the very end?
Yeah, I don't know. It was definitely a lot of fun. The beginning of the race when we were up on the fence, and the track was really good there. It was a lot of fun. But then there at the end, I don't know what happened. I know we were in 5th or 6th there, and we had a tire go down, and then at the end, chaos, obviously. So it's super unfortunate. I can't stress enough how bad I feel for the Roper guys to have a super small team like that. To tear up a truck like that, super unfortunate, but thankful that Circle B Diecast let me come run this race. Huffy, Texcon, all my partners on the personal side and even on the Cup side. Just it's fun that I can come do this race. I love the dirt racing on the NASCAR stuff. It's obviously a lot of fun from a fan standpoint, I feel like, too. So hopefully we can do it again, and hopefully I can be here.
Always good to see you drop back into the truck series, and we'll see you Sunday in the Cup race. Jamie.
Another one of those drivers involved was Chase Purdy. Demolition Derby was the phrase he used when he saw the replay on our monitor. I know you couldn't see it from inside of the truck. You started 30th tonight, though. Take me through the way it unfolded.
Yeah, definitely didn't start where we wanted to start. We started 30th. We got all the way up to, I think, about 13th or so, or 14th, and then we got hung up on the top, and you just can't go anywhere on the top. I mean, if you're not on the bottom, you're not really going to go anywhere, and we just kept getting shuffled, and then we finally made our way kind of back up there towards the end, and we had this green-white checkered, and I couldn't see anything. I mean, hell, I was blind the whole time going through that, and I just hated for my guys and everybody. We had such a fast truck, so.
You guys certainly worked harder than what it shows tonight. Jamie? And Donnie Schatz now involved as well. So much fun to see you in this race tonight, Donnie, but what was it like for you? You guys were beating and banging. This white fire suit is all kinds of dirty now.
Well, there was plenty of beating and banging for sure. Yeah, I guess that would come down to the end. You're going to have that. I don't really know. Someone in front of me, they were trying to get to the bottom on them restarts, and it was kind of a free-for-all. So I kind of had nowhere to go, just along for the ride. But kind of sad. It's the way it goes. I felt like we were going to have a top 10 finish, pretty respectable finish for first time out. A lot of great partners took us to get here. Everybody, I appreciate them for doing it. I had a lot of fun. Didn't quite end the way we wanted, but there's going to be another race. Not till tomorrow, but there'll be another race.
Donnie, good to see you.
It was indeed, and anytime you can have Donnie shots in your race, I think you've got to be appreciative of it. And certainly, as Jamie noted, didn't end the way he wanted, but good to have shots in the Camping World Truck Series event tonight. We've gone from red to yellow. That's an encouraging sign, and we're going to give this NASCAR Overtime another shot here in a moment. Mike, what's your takeaway from what we've seen tonight?
I just thought the racing was very entertaining, a lot of good rooting and gouging, and I think we would take away saying this was a really fun, entertaining event until that last pile-up, and then you got to say, well, you know, it's a little bit unfortunate that we had that big crash, but shoot, Kevin, you can tell that, you know, everybody's using those fenders because they need a spot, they want to get a position, and I've just really enjoyed watching the trucks race here at Knoxville. I hate that big pileup happened.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. You know, I think obviously, you know, like a lot of them said, the beginning was a lot of fun, and you know, I think if you know, they could do this over again, they'd obviously work on the racetrack and bring back something different. But it's kind of a double-edged sword with trying to you know, give them something that's going to last 150 laps, which is, you know, really tough with this amount of trucks on the racetrack. But you know, also give them something that doesn't you know, clog the radiators, clog the windshields, and things like that. So I'm sure they learned. I mean, we saw the improvement from practice night to tonight that was, you know, made it a lot better. And you know, I think they'll take those notes, and you know, if we can do this again next year, they'll make another step forward.
And you know what? I said I hate to see the big pile up. I just hate to see all those trucks torn up. But we still got a race to win here,
yes,
bitch. Chandler Smith's never done that before. He's in a great position, and we know how fast Austin Hill's been. And then there's Enfinger, who's been a real fun guy to watch. He's been so fast. So who's going to pull off the checkered? And Stuart Friesen was about 35th about 5 minutes ago, I think. He's all the way up inside the top 10. So some great stories. And I'm really looking forward to seeing who's going to get the checkered flag and get that beautiful trophy.
Yeah, only one of the top 10 drivers has won a race this season. In fact, if you really want to go deep, you could go down to the top 15. One of the top 15 has won a race this season, and that's Todd Gilliland. So for the 6th time, Chandler Smith will restart trying to hold off the rest of the field and from that top spot.
He's done it 3 times, held him off. He got past 3 times, so what will this one bring?
He's won half of them.
This is huge. So to win a truck race at Knoxville and NASCAR and solidify your spot in the playoffs, I mean, just such a prestigious event.
Chandler Smith and that 18 truck. Remember, they stayed out at the end of the 2nd stage, didn't take on tires, so they've got, certainly seems as though they've got a handicap in that regard, but it hasn't been much of a problem for Smith. He's done a great job. Can he do it again? 2nd overtime.
I'm telling you, who's going to be rooting and gouging? That's 98. He's into the back.
Man.
And the caution is out again as Self and Strickler have collided, and Ryan Truex, they're in the 40, but I believe Truex is going to be able to get rolling.
I don't believe the other 2 are going anywhere, man.
No. We'll have a 3rd try at it as Austin Wayne Self. Boy, it's been a tough night for that team with he and Moffitt both having to take it in and finish early.
That was going to be pretty interesting off of 2 for the lead there, because everybody was out of shape, and I think Gilliland from 5th was going to be leading there.
Wow, they had slid up the track. We knew they would. There's some contact. Strickler into 22 of Self, and then Danny Bone got a piece of that.
They were 3 wide up there for 2nd.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I think Gilliland had a good run down on the bottom. Watch him here. We lost it there as we...
Kraus gave him a little help to get in the corner there.
Yeah, Strickler was into back of the other truck, but it was because he was being shoved.
Yep.
Watch this battle for the lead. see the wreck, but they were 3 wide for second.
That was going to be interesting. Yes, it was, as they were heading down the backstretch.
There's your fire.
Yep. Self out of the truck. Good to see him walking away, and I'm sure frustrated not only with his finish tonight, but Brett Moffitt, who is his teammate this evening, done early as well. There's Kyle Strickler's truck at 20, done for the night. Line them up and let's try it again.
Heck yeah, why not?
Overtime number 3.
Rhodes may end up with a top 10 out of this deal by the time it cycles back through here at this rate. Feel like he was 10 laps ago. Kraus was too.
I think it's really fun to see some of the guys that have been able to fight their way back into contention. A lot of our top 10 have found themselves sliding back because of that high line, getting in the wrong line. But hung with it. There's John Hunter Nemechek.
Nemechek up to 12th. Well, look at that 21 of Zane Smith.
Remember, he was on pit road with a flat left front.
Yeah, that truck is, can't believe it's still rolling.
It's tough.
Chandler Smith has never won before. Austin Hill has not won this season. Grant Enfinger has not won this season. Todd Gilliland has a win this year at COTA. Hocevar has never won. Crafton has not won this season. Ankrum has not. Friesen has not. Kraus has not. Danny Bone has never won. I mean, there are a lot of opportunities for a very memorable finish. Who's it going to be? And I think it was interesting, Kevin, as you mentioned, Gilliland, who restarted 5th on that restart, was in position to take the lead when that yellow came out. So
if Chandler Smith worries too much about Austin Hill on the outside, Grant Enfinger, he has been using that bumper, and he will shove the 18 up off the bottom. So there's a lot that's going to go on in these 2 laps we're getting ready to see.
That's what I've been thinking this whole time, is whoever's 5th is probably really in the sweet spot, because, you know, if 3rd gets aggressive with 1st, they get both up out of the groove, then all you got to do is just hit the corner.
Hook the bottom.
Yeah. And that was, you know, we didn't get to see off of 2, but it looked like Gilliland was going to have a run on Chandler, you know, as well there.
And, you know, we're talking about that, thinking about what they might be thinking. Those gears are turning inside of those trucks as well. They're hearing from their crew chief about how to get started. Their spotters have views about their opinions, and the driver just knowing he has to execute. You know, not only do you have to accelerate properly, you got to hit those gear shifts properly. You got to make sure you put yourself in the right spot when you get to the corner.
Nemechek not likely to win tonight, but really a winner in a sense. Camping World and Marcus Lemonis had said at the beginning of the season, the driver leading the point standings after Knoxville, that team would receive a $75,000 bonus. So the 4-truck crew will be leading the series points after this race, and we'll get that $75,000 bonus. Thank you very much.
What would you guess? That's about $30,000 worth of damage. We're going to get that taken care of.
You're always spoiling the party, Mike.
Well, I'm trying to pay the bills around here, man. We need some of Marcus's cash to tune up that Ford. That's the 2nd truck, by the way, that we've torn up. So there. Yeah. I think we might be at that 75.
Yeah, that's the backup truck. It doesn't look very good, does it?
That's true. He's gone through 2.
Man, I tell you what, I don't know that there's any that aren't wrinkled up.
I'm just glad they're not having. Yeah, that sums things up, doesn't it? Yeah. I feel you, brother.
Fans around the country with that same reaction. But, you know, you can talk about all the crashes and the frustrating finish, but we're still going to crown a winner here in a moment. We hope, and for somebody, it's going to be a great night. And I tell you what, it's been fun. I've enjoyed the trucks at this iconic race facility, and not everything is perfect, but it's been a fun night.
What do you think the odds are if he wins this thing and does donuts, one of those rear tires blows out?
I wonder what he's got back there.
He probably needs to do donuts to the right, because his right rear, I'm sure, is toast.
What about our Fox camera crew getting us a nice peek inside of that left rear fender, trying to look at that tire?
And shout out to our technical crew, Mike. Glad that you mentioned that. Our technical crew, it's been a long day and going into a long night and through some inclement weather earlier today. Shout out to all those
look at
on
these
the tech
guys.
side. And
Vince, we can't even sort it out under caution.
you know what? I just throw the green. If you guys aren't going to sort it out, you're back far enough. Throw the green and go.
I almost wonder, like, when we have these circumstances, you know, on the sprint car side or things, like, once your tire gets worn to a point, they almost shake. And I'd almost wonder if, you know, it's getting to the point of that for Chandler or not.
Well,
they need to let them know we're not going to do the 4 wide again. We did that at the beginning of the night, and I think at this point they need to get in line and get this thing going.
It looks like as of now, Gilliland went from looking pretty to now being on the outside of row 2.
yeah, that's a shame, but that's just the way it works. The bottom is so valuable, and once you get slid up, you slide back.
I've always wondered, you know, obviously this is different circumstances for NASCAR and something they don't normally see, but when, you know, we do double file restarts and we get to a track condition like this, a lot of the times you just go to single file because of the disadvantage on one lane or the other.
We saw that at Bristol, and we also saw it at Coda, didn't we? I think maybe
in the rain.
So if the conditions present themselves, that's a good call, Kevin, that we could do that.
Yeah, I'm surprised they wouldn't have thought about it tonight.
Because the outside has definitely been a disadvantage. There's no question about it. The couple of times we've seen Hocevar get a great jump on the restart, but for the most part, once those trucks get rolling, the outside is going backwards. The top side is not the place to be.
Yeah, Hocevar may have ruined it for everybody, making it look good there those few times, and they said, maybe it's not so bad.
Grant Enfinger currently sitting third. What are their chances, you believe, Jamie Howe?
Well, they did say over the radio that one of the good things about that last restart is that they feel like everybody really showed their hand. They know what they have. And one thing that they have overheard and that they've observed is that the number 18 in front of him, of Chandler Smith, is going to have to hug that bottom line. He thinks that they could have a chance. If he can work his way up to the middle a little bit, there might be a chance he could pass him.
Yeah, especially if he hits him. Yeah. That increases your chances dramatically.
And at this stage, you know that's coming.
Yes,
I mean, whether it was Enfinger or Hocevar or Gilliland or Crafton, whomever it is, if you got a chance to move somebody for the win at this stage, you're going to do it.
It doesn't take much. You just got to get that right rear up out of that rubber just a little bit to where they hang, and then you can position yourself up on the door and just keep shoving from there.
One to go. Going to know in a bit who's able to hang on and win this prestigious dirt race.
We did have a 3 overtime finish earlier this season on the road course at Daytona. Ben Rhodes won that one. And this is overtime number 3 tonight. And again, they'll take the green, and if they can get back around to take the white, the next flag, whether it's the caution or the checkers, will end it. If we don't get to the white, the leader does not get the white flag, then we'll re-rack and do it again. Chandler Smith on the bottom, Austin Hill up top. Green flag is out. Overtime number 3 at Knoxville. And around again, another pile up. Sauter in the 13 and the 52 of Friesen. And it was going to be Austin Hill and Chandler Smith. I think if we ever get those in the pack to stop wrecking, we're going to see quite a battle for the win.
See the 30 truck of Danny Bone, North American Motor Car truck involved in that. I saw Friesen make a big dive to the bottom. It was a nice move, but then just gets spun. Tyler Ankrum got into Friesen. Zane Smith, more damage to the left front.
I think that's the second or third time we've seen Kraus be the kind of third shover in one of these situations.
Kraus was able to slip through. Unfortunately,
from Haley Deegan's view,
it's been a tough couple 3 weeks for Stuart Friesen.
well, we'll try it again. Overtime number 4 coming up.
Welcome
we're still
back,
with
Vince.
you. Yeah, we're still with you. We're not going anywhere. I mean, we've been here this long. We are taking it to the end, man. It is. We're not giving up now.
What about the lead change that we had as a result of that caution there?
When the caution came out, Austin Hill deemed ahead of Chandler Smith.
And you can see, depending on the scoring line they go past, Hill's ahead as they're down the back straightaway.
Yep.
And there's a scoring line. Kevin, you're looking at it. There's one right off 2 there.
It's basically at that back gate, and literally it probably was inches.
So Chandler Smith, who has led 68 laps tonight and has been able to fight off the field through more than a half dozen restarts. Now, as we get ready for overtime number 4, he's going to find himself on the outside, the unenviable position of being on the outside.
I know there's a couple of bartenders across the street at Dinga's that are saying, when's everybody coming over? What's going on? Are they still racing?
Losing income.
And that crowd right there will be there shortly, as you're watching.
They're on the way. We've got a track map of the scoring loops, and it was pretty clear as we look at it, Kevin, that it looked like Austin Hill was ahead when they crossed that line.
Yep, it's probably actually before the gate, so had they gotten to that middle of the back straightaway timing line, then probably the 18 is the leader.
So it's going to be Austin Hill restarting on the inside. If there's one place that Hill has been super strong tonight, it's been on the bottom. And we'll see if he can make it count again.
He's going to have to be super aggressive, Vince, though. We know that. We've seen the action from the guy in the 98 right behind him.
Overtime number 4. Infinger and Hocevar in row 2. Austin Hill gets a good jump to the point. Infinger nudges his way inside the 18 of Chandler Smith for second. Hocevar trying to get Infinger now for that second spot. Meanwhile, Austin Hill has pullen away. Hill's going to take the white flag. The next flag will end it.
3 wide for second.
Chandler Smith gets the spot. 3 wide for third now. Infinger not giving up.
This is good stuff. Oh, and round goes Hocevar and John Hunter Nemechek.
Nemechek somehow keeps it going, but nobody's going to stop Austin Hill for the first time this season. Austin Hill wins the first Camping World Truck Series race at Knoxville.
I told you somebody was going to be thrilled about getting the victory here at Knoxville. Look at this team. Such a great job all night long. Austin was just so strong down on the bottom of the racetrack, and man, He put them away at the end.
You guys were talking about how there's always a lot of bumping and banging at Watkins Glen. What do you think they're going to feel like after they have all this fun with each other going into that race?
Well, if they don't need Blue Emu yet, there's a chance after they all get to the garage area, somebody's going to need it because there's some bad people.
They're going to be bathing in it, I think.
And they won't carry any bad blood to Watkins Glen, will they?
Look at this.
There's some of it. I think that's the second time he's actually gotten spun out after the yellow, so I don't think he made friends tonight.
Wow. We said it was going to be an exciting finish. We had to wait a while to get it, though, Jamie. But, man, what a finish tonight. Austin Hill, the winner. Scott Zipadelli, the crew chief.
Worth the wait for this team. And Scott Zipadelli, your driver. Obviously a good truck, but he was aggressive all night. Take me through those last 15 minutes or so and what you guys had as far as a game plan.
Yeah, he did an amazing job tonight, Austin. We worked really hard. We talked about this race, as we do all the races, but we just really got our heads down this week and talked about what we were missing, whether it's communication, restarts, just execute. And, man, we did it tonight. It's awesome. That's been here in Knoxville, the first one. It's amazing. Thank you, everybody at HRE, Shiki, Hattori. Guys did a great job.
Congratulations. A big fireworks display happening right now, Vince.
And the celebration. NASCAR at Knoxville for the first time, and Austin Hill will never forget it.
That young man giving him that checker flag. Oh, isn't that sweet? Austin Hill gave the kid the flag.
It looks like a guy who didn't expect to pull that off coming into tonight.
His best finish on dirt was 9th earlier this season at Bristol. And I think they would be the first to tell you that dirt was not really their area of expertise. But they, as Scott Zipadelli said, just kept their head down and kept working, and they got it done tonight. 7th career win for Austin Hill. Not everybody's happy. Let's go to Jamie Howe.
You can feel the frustration coming off of Chandler Smith. They made that strategy call. Remember, they did not take tires, and despite that, you were able to lead so many laps of this race. How did you do that?
Yeah, overall, I just got to thank Danny and everybody on this number 18 JBL Toyota Tundra team. They worked their tails off on this thing. We got it right in practice. Kind of fell back. I couldn't run the top. We made it work on the bottom. So we needed some track position, led all those laps, and I don't think the call was right, to be honest with you, that they made. But it is what it is, I guess. I guess that's part of it.
Well, and the call he's talking about is this right here. Was the 16 ahead of the 18 when they went across the scoring loop?
Well, it's electronic scoring and timing, so
you can't argue it.
No, and it goes back to the last passed loop, and NASCAR made the call.
Yeah, the loop as well before the wall gets straight, and I think prior to getting to that gate back there and even getting to the straight part of the wall, he was definitely ahead of it.
Boy, what a night for Austin Hill. And well, Mike, I think it was early in the race, really, you made the comment that Hill is really good running the bottom. And when even at that point in the race, when others were going to the top and making some ground up, Austin Hill stayed true to the bottom, and that's where he made his hay tonight, and he did it at the end as well to get the win.
Yeah, that was an impressive run, and what a good handling truck. And you saw, Kevin, when he got the lead on that last lap, he was gone. It was over.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it looked like he had one of the the cleaner trucks overall too, and obviously took care of it all night, put himself in good position, and paid off at the end.
The 27-year-old from Winston, Georgia, celebrating in Victory Lane, the first NASCAR driver to do it at Knoxville, Jamie.
He has been waiting all year, big hugs all around, waiting for this first win, and it happens right here at Knoxville on dirt. Austin, how did you pull that one off?
Man, I don't know. Kind of thought we were out of it for a little bit. Had that restart on the outside of the 38 and earlier in the race, and man, I fell back all the way to like 20th, and I didn't think we were going to make it back up. Track position was huge. It was really hard to get around people. I had to kind of rough them up a little bit to get around them. So I just kept my head down. This team right here, everybody at HRE, they never quit. And that's the thing I love about this group is we don't stop, we don't quit. Even when we think we're down and out, we just keep coming back. So if you would have told me we would have won a dirt race this year, I would have told you you're lying. So, but man, I can't thank everybody at Toyota enough. Tochigi, Fukushima, Toyota Mobility Parts, and United Rentals for being on this truck. And just Jack Irvin, Tyler Gibbs, just everybody that has helped me get to where I'm at. My parents, my family. This is awesome. I don't know if Lindley or Kinsley's up still watching this, but I love you too, and hopefully I'll be home here in a few hours and we can celebrate a little bit before we go to bed. But this is awesome. This is so awesome.
It took a while to get there, but it was well worth the wait for Austin Hill, who wins at Knoxville.
Yes. Love those smiles that we see in Victory Lane, the winners, and great stuff. Great stuff. Well done. Zane Smith and Matt Crafton, by the way, clinched playoff spots with their finishes tonight. And Chandler Smith finds himself back on the playoff bubble. Boy, we saw Friesen was on the bubble for a while, Hocevar was on the bubble for a while, and then Chandler Smith just where he began the night, and Johnny Sauter where he began the night in 11th.
And Johnny Sauter knows one thing for certain. Anybody below that cut line for the playoffs, they got to win at Watkins. Yep. That's the only way they're going to make up that big of a deficit. You got to go into that race thinking that for sure.
Austin Wayne Self, Tyler Ankrum, Derek Kraus. So many had high hopes and felt good about their positions at times tonight, but only one is celebrating, and that's Austin Hill. And there's our next race at Watkins Glen, August 7th, and that will be the regular season finale. Final thoughts, Kevin?
I enjoyed it. I think we learned a lot, and that Knoxville learned a lot, and hopefully it's something that happens again. I hope we put on a good example of what our best sprint car racetrack looks like.
I just loved it. I loved all the action up until kind of got crazy at the end, but you could tell one thing for certain, Vince Austin Hill didn't care how many green, white checkers are going to take. He got the checker flag and he was thrilled.
Great stuff for Jamie Howe and Jamie Little, Michael Waltrip, Kevin Swift.